A longtime newsman with an opinion, a proud dad, an American, supporter of our veterans and active duty military. Common sense discussion begins now. This is the Steffan Tubbs Show on News Talk 710 KNUS.
Talk about maybe, just maybe, maybe you will take issue with something that I will bring up in regards to what the president did earlier today in Buffalo. And it's one of those, it can be a talk topic, or it could be literally a couple of minutes and we move on. I'm good either way, because I will have at least gotten off my chest what has been there for the last probably 3 days. The president in Buffalo, New York, the site of the latest mass shooting in the United States. And as we always say, and sadly, the countdown is now on to the next mass shooting in the United States. So we will talk about that. In this first segment, how could we not talk about the situation surrounding Aurora City Councilwoman Danielle Jurinsky, the now former Aurora Police Chief Vanessa Wilson, and her domestic partner named Robin Niceta. We'll talk much more about that. And just in case maybe you missed our nearly 90 minutes on the air with Councilmember Jurinsky, we will play you a couple of the chunks from our interview yesterday. As many of you know, but just in case you don't, Robin Niceta worked as a social worker in the Arapahoe County Department of Human Services as someone who is and should be, she was there 5 years before resigning a couple of weeks ago, somebody that should be there in this incredible position of trust, and allegedly, and to me grotesquely, violated that trust. I am not sure if you're a social worker. I kind of have an idea that you do not. It is not like signing up for a branch of the United States military where you rise and then you raise your right hand and you swear to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. I don't think you do that as a social worker. But if you're a social worker now, and dare I say that she will never be a social worker again, is that going out too far on a limb? How about this? Not to try to pile on, because see, Barack Obama said that we don't spike the football, and then of course he spent 8 years spiking the football at times. Will Vanessa Wilson have ever anything to do with law enforcement again? I would say that pretty much is in her rear view mirror. So we'll talk about that straight ahead. Believe it or not, and this, I don't, no offense to one of our great listeners, Brian in Arvada, brother, if you're listening, thank you. Does your wife still hate me? Even if she does, well, life's too short. But I don't want to get into really a discussion. Of course, you power the show as well. But today, the FDA announcing that the Pfizer Kitty Vax, we're going to approve it. You know, that jab. Frankly, friends, I thought they already did this. The last time that we were talking about the Kitty Vax, remember, it was for kids 6 months and up. But once again, we'll talk a little bit about that, but unless you really, really want to, Please consider it your humble host here. I consider that ground that has already been covered. Also, before either this segment or next, I want to thank the first MTC. Their group had me as a keynote speaker today at their luncheon, and it was phenomenal. So just by chance, if one of you, even though the organizer, Ralph, he was awesome. Ralph Spencer, if you're listening, I hope to continue our friendship and thank you as an artillery. I said, Ralph, can you hear me? Field artillery. He says, I used earplugs. But to those of you, you're special in artillery, obviously. But he invited me out to their group, and I spoke out at Raccoon Creek. But even in I'm called a lot of things. Trust me, many of you know this because I share some of them. I've been called Steffan. I've been called Steven. Friends and family call me Steph. Feel free. But I was introduced as, and in the media more than 30 years, 4-time winner of the Edward R. Murrow Award. It was great because actually this was a group that actually they would know who Edward R. Murrow actually was. That was a plus. He's been named Best Denver Radio Personality twice, Westward and 5280. By the way, Matt, I'm just telling you, I'm not trying to go over my resume or inflate my ego. And then there's always something that will bring you back just when you think, yeah, he's talking about me. Oh, yeah. What a career I've had. No, you can be humbled quickly. And so please welcome, and this is not maybe in order, but in essence, please welcome Steffan Tubbs. You can hear him daily on 630 KNUS. Dang it, man. That would be 710. So like any, respectable person asked to come and speak at a luncheon of incredible veterans and their spouses and et cetera. As soon as he said 6:30, I just went, boo! Right from the front row. But it was an honor. And I unbeknownst to him, and see, in Colorado, you can do that because of the way our laws are. Unbeknownst to Ralph, I recorded a little ditty that he did at the end about the artillery. And we'll play that for you sometime in this hour. There are many ways to get in touch with us. Thank you to those of you. If you have logged on to the 710 KNUS YouTube live feed simulcast, we got a new microphone configuration. Matt, I don't know why. I mean, years of habit, it used to stand up here and now it's the way it is now. The first few days, I had no problem with this new mic. Brockler must have done something because I'm having all kinds of trouble. So if you want to see a radio host deal with a microphone and a microphone arm or stand and have trouble with it, probably consistently until 7:00 tonight, please keep it right there on the YouTube channel. Our phone number, 303-696-1971. You can text the studio via the free-to-download app. And, of course, our website. Welcome to our live stream potential global listening audience, 710knus.com or via the app. And, of course, you can send via both of those an email to my inbox and podcasts. If you did not listen to or get to hear because of life and your schedule or what have you, the entire interview with Danielle Jurinsky yesterday, hours 2 and 3 of the program. She was with us for half of the 5:00 hour. So you can do that. Again, thank you for tuning in. I know you got a lot of radio choices and greatly appreciate you tuning in to Colorado's most popular and entertaining afternoon and evening program. Heard Roger talk about Roger. What I love about when Roger does the news, and I don't know if he's listening right now, but he'll give you sports at the end. Hashtag, we are not a sports show. We're not a sports station. But good luck to the Colorado Avalanche. The puck drops at the Can. You like that, Matt? At 7:30 tonight as round 2 of the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs begins. And I I mentioned this yesterday. The Avs, it's like, is it a successful season if they don't certainly get to the Stanley Cup final and then win it? That's a good team. Very, very good team. So thank you to Roger for reminding us. Tonight, I've got something to watch because it's the playoffs. You can actually see them here in Denver. Because, of course, for like 18 straight years, that's a lie, but it seems like it. You can't watch if you have Comcast. You can't watch the Avs or the Nuggets. But then the networks take over for the playoffs. Again, on number 303-696-1971. We'll probably get to Buffalo and the president in our next segment. But I want to start with Danielle Jurinsky and the partner of the now former Aurora police chief. Her name, Robin Nicetta. 5 years in the Arapahoe County Department of Human Services. You know, I've talked with as many people off the air about our on-air topic when it comes to this Jurinsky false report. Remember yesterday we went over the affidavit and the 9 pages and the incredible work done by an Arapahoe County sheriff's sergeant, a detective, connecting the dots, so to speak. And look, those of you in law enforcement, you know, that's what they do. But this, I'm telling you, yeoman's work. But I've talked about this story in the last, a little more than 24 hours or so off the air with friends and colleagues, as much as I've talked about any story that we've done in recent memory. And I think there are several factors involved in why that is the case. Number one, first and foremost, to me in my mind, is, as we discussed yesterday on the program, there's low, and then there's this. When you go after someone's kid and you make these heinous allegations, that's just, to me, that's just a whole new ballgame. I'm telling you, I don't know, and I don't want to sound A, big time, B, get myself in trouble. It's one thing if Fat Tay calls me a Klansman. It's another if, some racist pig calls me white supremacist or a Nazi. It's one thing to hear all of that. I mean, do I like it? Well, I'd rather have no one call me a Nazi, a Klansman, a misogynist, a white supremacist. I'd rather have that never happen in my life because it couldn't be further from the truth. But that also goes with this job. But I'm telling you, I don't know what I would do if some outside person who doesn't know me from anybody goes after my kids. Now, my kids are older, but in any way, shape, or form, I most likely would be probably facing some sort of criminal charge. Because when it comes to my kids, and for many of you, I'm quite comfortable in saying, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's one thing, you know what, you work at a law firm, and somebody is so pissed off with your performance or lack of performance, whatever it is, that kind of comes with the job. But when they go after your kids, and in this case, allegedly Robin Nicetta, I was telling one of my colleagues, Michael Arpaio, just before the show started, it's one thing if Robin Nicetta, and again, innocent until proven guilty. These are allegations. It'll come out in the wash in a courtroom. Hopefully. That's a whole other can of worms. Do not plead this case out. You let her be in that courtroom and you let the evidence be presented to a jury in the 18th. If you get a conviction, you let Danielle Jurinsky complete in front of the alleged criminal You let her do a victim impact statement. Don't plead this case out. I don't know. I'm so hot and heavy in my mind. I've got a lot of things flying around. But again, it goes back to you mess with my kids. But it's one thing if you're in a line of work like this or many, many others where, you know what, look, it kind of comes with the territory. You know, it's kind of like a no offense because we're down there with attorneys and used car salesmen and women. Um, you know, if you're on a used car lot, for example, there's a pretty good chance that somebody's coming in with some preconceived notions that you may be a D-bag or you may be trying to, squeeze every last penny. And look, I know not all car salesmen and women are like that, but some are. Just like with the hate of the media. I was saying that this afternoon at the lunch where I gave some remarks that we have earned it in the media. We have earned your lack of trust because so much of it has been labeled as the truth, and it's just flat out not the truth. I've shared many times over the last few years with you that one of my college professors, I think I don't know, maybe my junior year of college, I remember taking this journalism course, and he kind of stumps the class. Looking back, we should have probably got this right. He says, name me the three most important things in journalism. And I think I probably said something, trust. Well, trust is important, but it goes around the room in my college course and no one got it right. Well, it was a little bit of a trick question, but what's the most important thing in journalism? The professor, I'll never forget this, said three things: accuracy, accuracy, and accuracy. And how much of what you have experienced as a news junkie, a news consumer, online, television, blogs, and of course the radio, how many years has it been since you really felt like, wow, he's the equivalent of Walter Cronkite. Everybody trusts Uncle Walter. See, we've done a great job of not being accurate. That's why it's so important for me to be accurate, and knowing about this that happened yesterday was coming down, but I had to sit on it because of many, many different reasons. But we have been accurate, and I've told you before as well, I'd rather be second, third, fourth on a story and get it right than be first out of the box and be inaccurate and have to come. You know what we told you yesterday? Yeah, that actually wasn't the case. Well, friends, I'm here to tell you on a Tuesday afternoon, that's not going to happen here. We accurately described, and Danielle Jurinsky in studio, sometimes with many tears in her eyes, gave you an accurate description of what this made her feel like. But here you've got this woman who is in this so-called position of trust. I was back to Michael Arpaio, who I was talking with before the show. Look, it is one thing to call a hotline and think you're remaining anonymous and there's no way they can trace your call. Well, of course, that does not mean never call Crime Stoppers. But when you call Crime Stoppers, for an example, don't lie. Tell the truth. Be accurate. And I doubt that they would go through a forensic investigation and trace your number back. There are still anonymous tip lines out there. But when you call, someone called, allegedly it was Robin Nicetta, but someone called. And when you call and you raise questions about a false report, or that could be simply a false report, retribution, retaliation, for somebody on the radio calling someone else, in this case, again, she's alleged to have made this call. If, in fact, prosecutors can prove this was simply in retaliation because Danielle Jurinsky on this radio program in the 4 p.m. hour on Thursday, January 27th, called someone trash, now you're going to go and you're going to leap over 15 different hurdles. You're going to go to a completely new page, a new chapter in the book, and you're going to try to get her child taken away from her. It's sickening. And again, as I was discussing with Arpaio, is it's one thing if Robin Niceta worked at Burger King and just decided to make, again, allegedly, make this false tip line recording. To me, it's a completely different ballgame, and it is when you've got the alleged criminal working where she did. And again, just let's all, as we get ready for a traffic and weather update, let's all keep our feet, common sense, firmly planted on the ground in a very highly emotional story, at least for me, because again, I cannot imagine, I don't know how Danielle Jurinsky has kept it together. But as she told us yesterday, this is war. And then added, I'm ready. It's different if Niceta works at Burger King. It's a completely different thing that this woman knew things. She is known in the quote unquote industry, if you will. Because someone said trash, wanted your lover, domestic partner, lesbian relationship, whatever it is, domestic partner, they wanted that person fired. Again, so many things were leaped from point A to point B, it still makes my head spin. And I wonder if it makes yours spin as well. And I will say this. Once again, if you think you are immune and you know what, I get it. You know, you're a God-fearing man or woman and maybe you prayed for Danielle Jurinsky and her family last night. Maybe you didn't. Don't think this couldn't happen to you. And that is not me trying to say the sky is falling and, oh, we got to be afraid of the boogeyman, who's on the other side of the door, etc. No. I know firsthand, nothing compared to what Jurinsky's going through. But if you're one allegation away, as I always say, from your life, at least temporarily, being ruined. When did you stop beating your wife? Type situation. So we'll get into it. 303-696-1971. Thank you for the texts already coming in via the 710 KNUS app. We'll go to the break with how we began our conversation with Danielle Jurinsky yesterday. Coming up as well, I want to get into Buffalo and why a seemingly, logical thing that the president did, traveling to Buffalo after the nation's most recent mass killing, why that doesn't sit right, at least with me. And I'll explain coming up next. Traffic and weather straight ahead. First, to the break with Danielle Jurinsky from yesterday.
Well, thank you, Steffan, and thank you for standing by me through this whole thing. You know, this is something that I had to bear the weight of quietly. You know, I knew that this investigation was going on, and you know, the investigation against me was closed on February 14th. And it
Valentine's Day.
Yeah,
happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah, you know, and it was completely without question unfounded. But you know, then I knew that a police investigation had started into this, and not against me. You know, against my alleger. And I had to remain quiet about it. And I had to sort of bear this on my own because, you know, we wanted to protect the integrity of the investigation. And, you know, so nobody really knew what I was going through. Of course, my family and a couple of those very, very close to me knew, you know, but other than that, I had to just go about my days as if nothing was wrong. And that was tough. I mean, naturally, you know, I've been pretty outspoken, and so to have to be quiet about this was pretty tough.
Yeah. And at the same time, I can only imagine, you want to climb upon the highest mountaintop and scream like you've never screamed before.
Oh, absolutely. I did. And but I sat there, and after Vanessa Wilson was fired, I sat there and I took the insults and I took the name calling, and I watched as, she was painted as this saint in the media, and I just stayed quiet.
Closure up in Morgan County, northeast of Denver, between Wiggins and Fort Morgan. I-76 closed to both directions at US 34. That's exit 66B due to a tractor trailer on fire. Good drive for us here in the metro area, starting to get a little busier along the interstates. 270, one of the slowest drives already, getting crowded, 10 to 12 minutes there across Commerce City. I-70 starting to see a bit more activity, as well as that I-25 drive. Do have a crash jamming westbound 120th just past I-25. I'm Susan Thielen.
This report is sponsored by Liberty Mutual Insurance, where you only pay for what you need.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
It's springtime in the Rockies. Come and explore beautiful Carbon County, Wyoming. There's no better time of year to enjoy the natural mineral hot springs in Saratoga. Soak your bones in the healing waters of the Hobo Hot Pool, free to the public and open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. For information and directions, visit WyomingCarbonCounty.com or call 324-3020. Carbon County, Wyoming. Get your West on.
Get the inside scoop on weather happenings across the region with the Day Weather Podcast to get the inside story on what is really happening with weather patterns and climate across the Rockies and High Plains. It's not just a forecast, but also the nuts and bolts of what is going on with the weather and why. The Day Weather Podcast will give you insights on what drives our weather and climate without the hype and misrepresentation so common today. Find the Day Weather Podcast on iTunes, dayweather.com, and many other podcast platforms.
Dr. Tim Watt here with Synergenics Denver. Our goal is better health for you. Aging doesn't have to be hard. Getting older can be the best and most rewarding time of your entire life. At Synergenics, we use advanced testing and diagnostics to help uncover how to be a healthier you. The key to health isn't treating symptom after symptom. It's finding out why those symptoms are happening and then stopping them for good. Your quality of life is directly linked to your specific risk factors. Our program is dedicated to keeping those factors as low as possible while increasing your energy, your performance, and your overall well-being. We start with comprehensive testing, followed by prescribing precision medicines that address your specific health needs. We create a program designed specifically for you to help you focus, become stronger, and feel in control of your life again. Call Synergenics today. Our number is 720-387-3681, or visit our website at denver.synergenics.com. That's denver.synergenics.com.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that's MediShare. Maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for healthcare can save the typical family $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The customer satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. MediShare works. It's been around for more than a quarter century, and members have shared more than $3 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. 866-88-BIBLE. That's 866-88-BIBLE. 866-88-BIBLE.
Perfect air with a personal touch. Only Pastor Camp Heating and AC Inc. can give you authentic Lennox quality and service. They're the people you know and trust right here in our community. And for a limited time, they're offering up to $1,000 in rebates or make no payments for 6 months when you finance a new Lennox system for as little as $132 a month. To get quality Lennox equipment with trusted service provided by Pastor Camp Heating and AC Inc., call 303-777-1234 today or visit them online at pastorcamp.com. Conditions apply. See dealer for details.
Hi, it's George Brockler here with 710 KNUS. A local jeweler you can trust is a little thing that's actually a big thing. That's why I use Littleton Jewelry. I love their focus on jewelry repair and maintenance. Inherit a box of jewelry, don't know what it's worth? Their team can quickly go through it and evaluate and tell you what you have on your hands. Buy and sell gold and silver at Littleton Jewelry. It's very simple and upfront. Littleton Jewelry is located at Santa Fe, just south of Hudson Gardens. Look for the jewelry repair sign. Visit littletonfinejewelry.com. Tell them George sent you.
News Talk 710, KNUS.
Listen live on Odyssey.
Pretty good.
Now, back to Steffan Tubbs. News Talk 710, KNUS.
The reason for this songs, hits. Matt, we might have to maybe put this on the wall to get that hook to the break. I think we're alone now. It is one of the most annoying songs. Songs that were hits in 1987, the year I graduated from high school. Not trying to be self-serving, but was in communication yesterday with the committee, and God bless. Am I speaking the truth here? I always do. God bless anyone from back in your high school days that may still live in the same small town or big city or in between suburb that you went to high school with, and they are part of the committee to get your reunion together. That is not me. I'm not that guy. Thank goodness I have people. They were I mean this with all the love in the world. I truly do. They were the do-gooders. They were members of the club. They were class presidents. They were vice presidents. While anybody else is trying to either think about ditching or ditching, they were over lunch holding a club meeting. So if you by chance are one of those people, you've helped organize a class reunion in the past, God love you. Thank you, because where would we be without people like you? So songs from 1987 as I approach in August, my 35th. Good night. Are you even 35, Matt? You're not. Gross. My 35th. I'm kidding. I love you. My 35th high school. And I know guaranteed, Matt, there's going to be somebody texting. You think 35's bad? I just hit my 60th. That's nothing. My 50th anniversary. I mean, anyway, moving on. Coming up, we've got an interesting 4 o'clock hour, a very interesting one. We'll talk about the president in Buffalo. We will, in fact, in the 4 o'clock hour, we're bringing it back. No, calm down. It's not Sasquatch Wednesday. We're talking UFOs. Why? Because they are in the news. Let's hear Rod for a second.
Not only of sight and sound, but of mind.
Cigarette
a journey
burning.
into a wondrous land whose boundaries are that of imagination. Your next stop, the Twilight Zone.
Oh, man. Now, some of you watched as it was broadcast, regularly during the week. I watched reruns, and I've always loved the Twilight Zone. But we are talking in the 4 o'clock hour. Matt, this may go over like our proverbial fart in church, but we're going to try. We are talking, yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, about UFOs. Why? Because we love variety. Headline today. That's an abrupt ending. Headline: UFOs, quote, potential national security threat. The head of the House Intelligence Panel says. Let me just read this. Holy cow. And so you'd think that Representative Andre Carson would have been from, say, I don't know, New Mexico or Nevada. But he's actually a Democrat from Indiana. The chairman of a House subcommittee referred to UFOs as a, quote, potential threat to national security in the first historic congressional hearing on the subject in more than 5 decades. Representative Carson, did I mention he was a Democrat? Hey-oh. The chairman of the Subcommittee on Counterterrorism, Counterintelligence, and Counterproliferation said in opening remarks earlier today, quote, this hearing and our oversight work has a simple idea at its core. Unidentified aerial phenomena are a potential national security threat, and they need to be treated that way, close quote. Whoa. Okay, so we're going to do this because we love variety on the program. It has been a long time. We've gone through COVID together. We haven't had a Sasquatch Wednesday. I think Sasquatch that may exist in Colorado, that dude's gray. We haven't talked about that, but we're talking about UFOs. Do you believe? Have you ever seen one? We just had, didn't we have a blood moon lunar eclipse a couple of nights ago? It's awesome, by the way. We're going to do that on our 4 o'clock hour. So if you're itching, we'll scratch that itch, so to speak, after the news at the top of the hour. UFOs, potential national security threat. And I always appreciate, because I just think that the cosmos are, it's just, there's too much out there for us to be alone. And God love my fellow man, but this is as good as we could do. This is as good as God could do. I don't know. So we'll talk about UFOs and give you some sound from the first congressional hearing on the subject in more than 50 years coming up in our 4 o'clock hour. In the meantime, the president earlier today was in Buffalo.
After meeting with the families of the victims, President Biden condemned the ideology that fueled the Buffalo killings.
White supremacy is a poison.
He said it's been allowed to fester in America.
We need to say as clearly and forcefully as we can that the ideology of white supremacy has no place in America.
Without naming those who have espoused the great replacement theory, Mr. Biden said the notion's been given too much oxygen for power and for profit. Stephen Portnoy, CBS News, Washington.
More from the president in Buffalo, the site of a weekend massacre at a grocery store. Sadly, it sounds so familiar, doesn't it? The president from earlier today.
We've now seen too many times the deadly and destructive violence this ideology unleashes. We heard the chants, "You will not replace us," in Charlottesville, Virginia. I wasn't going to run, as the senator knows, again for president. When I saw those people coming out of the woods of the fields in Virginia, in Charlottesville, carrying torches, shouting, "You will not replace us," accompanied by white supremacists and carrying Nazi banners, that's when I said no.
Now, I agree with President Biden. What happened in Charlottesville was sickening. I think personally, this is just my personal opinion, that Donald Trump was taken out of context. I'm not trying to make excuses for Donald Trump, but I think when he said, and that was the whole, there were good people on both sides, I think he was taken out of context, but probably not the smartest thing that Donald Trump's ever said. And I don't necessarily say, well, give him a pass because what he really meant is this. But I do think that the media latched onto that. And lo and behold, wouldn't you know that the current occupant of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue certainly won't let that go. But why would I take issue with the president today at the scene of the latest mass shooting in our country?
I call on all Americans to reject the lie. And I condemn those who spread the lie for power, political gain, and for profit. That's what it is.
Well, I'll tell you why I take issue with today. Did you notice that there's a different Joe Biden right there? Just in the two quick clips we played and the sound bites from Stephen Portnoy's report. Oh, he's mad. He's angry. On his watch, yet another mass killing. And sadly, I mean, how far do we have to go back that every president, Republican or Democrat, on their resume has a mass shooting? I mean, you certainly go back to Bill Clinton. And most likely every single president up to present day and Joe Biden. But see, there was a different Joe today, and never, the cliche is, never let a good crisis go to waste. Well, friends, June, July, August, September, October, we're 6 months from the midterms. This president is tough on white supremacists, speaking that way, and I say good. Tough on those flying Nazi flags, I say good. But do you notice something that is missing over the course of just a little more than a year ago? What happened in the early months of the Joe Biden presidency? There was, as you all know, a mass shooting. Sadly, the latest mass shooting in Colorado was at a King Soopers on Table Mesa in Boulder. Now, I went and did some research last night and this morning. The president issued the normal Jill and I send thoughts and prayers and it's horrible, etc. But Joe Biden didn't come to Boulder for the King Soopers massacre. Just cool your jets, friends on the left. Pump your brakes because I can just... But he came for the fires. He came for the fires. Yes, he did. But I just pose this question as we get ready for news, and we'll get that with Roger straight ahead. Was Buffalo's more presidentially important because we're 6 months out from the midterms? Was Buffalo's a bit easy? Please, you've got to stick with me here. Don't take me out of context. Was Buffalo's quote unquote worse than Boulder because we know that an 18-year-old white kid, young man, went in with the strict purpose of killing as many blacks as he could? Because in Boulder, I don't know about you, friends, I still don't know much. I know our friend and my now former colleague, Peter Boyles, talked about this all the time. What do we know about that gunman? For example, where the hell is he today? Like today. I don't mean just physical address. Where is this guy? Who is he? What about the motivations? Why did he drive from where he did? What was it, Arvada? Why did he drive all the way to Boulder? You see, we didn't get a presidential visit, and the last I checked, 10 people were murdered, including a Boulder police officer, a little more than a year ago in Boulder. If you don't think that politics and all of that, and I know you do, well, isn't this convenient in a horrific way? And again, don't take me out of context. Where was the presidential visit to Boulder to meet with his friend Jared Polis and Jonah Goose and Ed Perlmutter, and Diana DeGette would be there as well? Where was that presidential visit? It didn't happen. 10 people died in Boulder, including a police officer. 10 people died in Buffalo, including a former police officer who has been hailed a hero. This is not sour grapes. Oh, the president didn't come to Boulder, but he went to Buffalo. That is not it at all. You just ask yourself, politically motivated, easier to swallow because, well, this was a hate crime in Buffalo. We can take your calls on it. We're late. I'm running late. In fact, let's get news now, Matt, with Roger. We'll continue this. And in the 4 o'clock hour, UFOs, because they held a congressional hearing on that today. Steffan Tubbs with you as we slowly head toward 4 o'clock. This is 710 KNUS.
News Talk 710. Update.
Mostly cloudy skies, 84 degrees in Denver. The 710 5-day forecast coming up. Our top story, the president and First Lady Jill Biden say they stand and grieve with Buffalo after a mass shooting at a supermarket. The first couple paid a visit to the city today. President called what happened a racist massacre. He added the nation should take on the haters. Firefighters are slowly getting control over an almost 1,600-acre fire near Canyon City. The High Park fire is 37% contained after sparking up last week. A town hall planned for 5 o'clock tonight at Cripple Creek Victor High School. Not known what caused the fire to spark up. This update brought to you by News Nation. Watch Banfield weeknights at 8 Mountain on the fastest growing cable news network in America. News Nation. Go to newsnationnow.com/join us for your TV provider. Polls soon closing in some key states holding primary elections today. Pennsylvania, Dr. Oz hoping to ride an endorsement from former President Trump in his bid to become the Commonwealth's next U.S. Senator. AT&T Sportsnet reported that their reporter, Kelsey Wingert, was hit by a foul ball during the Rockies game last night. She received medical attention, and they're happy to share that she's doing well. Colorado Rapids will be hosting KC tomorrow night at Dick's. Dow finished up today, 431 points. NASDAQ up 321. S&P 500 up 80. Wake up with George Brockler weekday mornings from 6 to 10, only on News Talk 710 KNUS, the official station of the 2022 Western Conservative Summit. I'm Roger Kurtelbaugh, News Talk 710.
Highways in good shape for us this afternoon. Starting to get busier here in the metro area. There's no problems or crashes. Building in that 270 drive. I-25 starting to get crowded. Head on into downtown. Tech Center still in great shape. More activity along I-70 and 225. There is report of a crash Green Valley Ranch at Pena Boulevard. It's causing a delay at Green Valley Ranch. Trouble in Morgan County out near Wiggins. To the northeast, tractor trailer fire. I-76 shut down at US 34. I'm Susan Thielen.
This report is sponsored by Staples Stores.
Denver and the Front Range will see highs lower and mid-80s this afternoon with some increasing clouds and a few late afternoon and evening showers and thunderstorms. Lows tonight, low and mid-50s. Lower 80s Wednesday, mainly sunny, stray storm in the afternoon. Upper 80s, brisk winds Thursday afternoon, then much colder with showers on Friday. Weather brought to you by Colorado Flat Fee Realty, now with a 2% option. Pay less, keep more. ColoradoFlatFeeRealty.com. Meteorologist Don Watzel, 710 KNUS.
Personalized, functional, beautiful. Kitchens, the centerpiece of your home, a place to gather and eat, and we all want one we can enjoy. Your kitchen remodel can bring all the latest designs, colors, and textures to life, from brilliant countertop and backsplash installations to cabinets in the style and function that fit you best. Cabinetry by Kales is known for extraordinary kitchen design, and you'll love working with their expert designers who can take your ideas and tastes and bring them to life. Cabinetry by Kales Kitchen and Bath carries multiple lines of cabinetry and countertops, plus hardware selections and a variety of styles and price ranges for the kitchen, bathroom, or other cabinet projects. Get started at cabinetrybyKales.com or in the showroom located off Dransfeld in Parker. You'll find inspiration and understand the process start to finish. Why wait another moment? Your kitchen refresh, upgrade, or complete remodel awaits at Cabinetry by Kales Kitchen and Bath. CabinetrybyKales.com. Personalized, functional, beautiful.
When I turned 65, I wasn't sure just how to go about getting my Medicare benefits. I tried to look things up on my own, but the websites were so confusing. I wasn't sure what plan or carrier would be best for me. But then I found Chapter, and they made everything so easy for me. Chapter compares thousands of Medicare insurance plans nationwide, and they were able to recommend the best plan for my needs. My advisor was so helpful. He helped me find a plan that covered my doctors and had an affordable monthly premium. I'm saving hundreds of dollars a year, and I get better coverage than my previous plan. And best of all, talking to my Chapter advisor was completely free.
If you're turning 65 65 or already 65, you too can maximize your Medicare benefits. Call Chapter today at 800-449-8905 to speak to an advisor. That's 800-449-8905, because the best side of 65 should be your best Chapter yet.
Tell me why Relief Factor is so successful in lowering or eliminating pain. I'm often asked that question. Pete and Seth Talbot, the father and son founders of Relief Factor, tell me they believe our bodies were designed to heal. The doctors who formulated Relief Factor selected the 4 best ingredients, 100% drug-free ingredients that each help your body deal with inflammation. Order the 3-week quick start now. Discount it to only $19.95 to see if it will work for you too. Call 800-500-8384. ReliefFactor.com.
News Talk 710, KNUS.
Listen live.
Now, back to Steffan Tubbs. News Talk 710, KNUS.
You won't hear anything, sadly. And sadly, we're running out of time. So let's get to Chris in Bailey. Chris, I appreciate your call, and good afternoon.
Doing today, Steffan?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you.
Hey, I just want to talk about this Boulder Buffalo shooting.
Yeah.
It really chaps my hide that they don't tell us a thing about the guy in Boulder, and yet 2-3 days after the Buffalo shooting, we know everything about the guy.
Dude, I 100% agree. Yep.
And we know zero about the guy in Boulder. So I just want to say that really, makes me very upset.
No, you know what, Chris? It should. It should. And I'm glad you expressed that. And I'm glad, at least, Chris, maybe it's just you and me in the canoe, but I'm glad that you agree. Let me ask you, and I wish we had more time with you, but why do you think it is that more than a year later, we know pretty much, we as members of the general public, we know hardly anything about what happened in Boulder?
Right. Yep. Because it doesn't fit the narrative.
Bingo.
Of the other side.
Bingo.
And,
but when you can identify an 18-year-old, and of course he's white, so it fits right into everything. Again, I'm not butthurt, and I hope you understood. It sounds like you do. I'm not butthurt that the president came or didn't come to Boulder, and that he went to Buffalo and said, I'm not whining about it. It's just that, isn't it interesting?
It's interesting, but honestly, I find it irrelevant. Whether he went to Buffalo or not, why didn't he come to Boulder?
That's my point.
That happened in Boulder.
Yep. And he came for the fires. Great call, Chris. And thank you, brother. At least Chris and I are in the same canoe, and we're rowing the same way. I appreciate that. It's interesting, isn't it? Well, wait. In Buffalo, there were 10 dead. There were 10 dead in Boulder. Well, there was a former retired security guard who he was beloved in the community. Well, rest in peace. Don't take me out of context. Well, in Boulder, we had an active on the force Boulder police officer who was killed, but the president didn't come to Boulder. He did for the fires. Coming up in the 4 o'clock hour, because we love variety, let's talk about the first congressional hearing on UFOs in more than 50 years, and a very special guest in the 4 as well. Stay with us and live long and prosper.
Are you ready?
Let's do this.
Let's do it.
710 KNUS presents the Colorado Republican Rumble, a day of debates featuring statewide Republican candidates for Secretary of State, Governor, and U.S. Senate. This Saturday, May 21st, at the Grizzly Rose, starting at high noon, featuring News Talk 710's own George Brockler helping moderate the event. Watch it in person or stream it live. Complete details at 710knus.com. The Colorado Republican Rumble, presented by the Republican Women of Weld in partnership with the Adams County Republican Women and News Talk 710 KNUS.
Listen now, and your bank account will thank you. Hi, George Brockler here. I'm blown away by the program my friend and realtor Gay Ribble, the Ribble Group, Keller Williams Realty DTC, has launched. Sell your home and pay zero commission. Yes, you can list your home with the Ribble Group, get full service, and the buyer will pay all of the commission. I've talked a lot about how Gay Ribble has the buyers. Well, now Gay has the buyers willing to pay all of the commission so you can net more money. You can sell your home now by matching your home to one of her buyers who will pay the commission for you. With interest rates on the rise, you're going to want to act quickly. The Ribble Group's zero commission program makes it easy, matching your home to one of their buyers who will pay all the commission. To learn more about the zero commission program, call the Ribble Group at 833-301-SOLD. That's 833-301-SOLD, or visit Gay, spelled Gaye, hasthebuyers.com. That's gayhasthebuyers.com.
Hi, it's Peter Boyles for the Twin Aspen Dental Center's Dental Minute with Dr. Brian Richter. Look, Doc, face it, like lots of people, I want a smile that really shines. I'm an old guy, lots of coffee, doing radio shows. I love a wider, brighter smile. So how can Twin Aspen Dental Center help me with all of this?
Peter, we have a couple of great options for improving the color of your teeth. We get great results with Zoom, which is our in-office whitening system. If you don't have time for that, we can make you custom fitting whitening trays, which you use at home.
Dr. Richter, finding the free time isn't easy, so tell me more about the take-home whitening trays.
Peter, simply by being a patient of mine, you get customized whitening trays, and we will give you whitening gel at every 6-month cleaning to keep that smile bright and white for life.
Thanks, Doctor. I'm going to get mine tomorrow. Twin Aspen Dental Center's brand new office located on Parker Road in Stroh and Parker. Dental questions can be directed to twinaspendentalcenter.com. Search them out on Google or call 303-841-7466.
At Progressive, we know there's nothing like the feeling of riding a motorcycle with your crew on the open road. That symphony of engines roaring in perfect harmony. It's a feeling that would be impossible to recreate on the radio. Until now. Hit it, Jerry. Oh, my word. Really, really terrible. Is that a glockenspiel, Jerry? Quote with Progressive and see if you could save with America's #1 motorcycle insurer. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. No, Jerry. It's over.
KNUS Denver, a Salem Media Group station. News Talk 710, the official station of the 2022 Western Conservative Summit. Get tickets online at 710knus.com.
Metro highways are running crash-free this afternoon. We're getting busier all across the city. Now we do have trouble in Douglas County. This is a crash on Highway 85, Santa Fe, southbound at Titan Road, causing a delay. Also a crash jamming the drive at Green Valley Ranch and Pena Boulevard. I'm Susan Phelan.
This report is sponsored by Staples Stores.
Denver's local talk leader. News Talk 710, KNUS. The news now.
Good afternoon. 4 o'clock. Mostly cloudy skies. We have 84 degrees in Denver. The 710 5-day forecast is coming right up. Our top story: polls will be closing soon in some key states holding primary elections today. In Pennsylvania, Dr. Oz is hoping to ride an endorsement from former President Trump in his bid to become the Commonwealth's next U.S. Senator. Down in North Carolina, multiple Republicans are hoping to take out incumbent Congressman Madison Cawthorn as he deals with a series of controversies. Over $56,000 in damage being reported from last week's fire at 2 Colorado Springs mobile home parks. El Paso County Assessor Steve Schleicher told county commissioners today that firefighters worked hard to keep flames from spreading and mitigated a lot of damage. The fire started last Thursday in Skylark Mobile Home Park and then moved to Falcon Mobile Home Park. 1 person was killed. 7 homes were destroyed. This update brought to you by Liberty Mutual Insurance, where you only pay for what you need. Nobody should have to pay for one-size-fits-all insurance coverage. Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance, so you only pay for what you need. Veterinarians in the high country seeing an uptick in ticks, according to the Colorado State University Extension. Most common ticks in Colorado: the Rocky Mountain wood tick, the deer tick, alternatively known as the black-legged tick, carries Lyme disease, but not generally found here in the region. Dr. Carrie Nadell of Grand Animal Hospital in Fraser wants your ticks. Send them to her if you have a dog or if you had a tick yourself. She wants to see if they're migrating. Wake up with George Brockler, weekday mornings 6 to 10, only on News Talk 710 KNUS, the official station of the 2022 Western Conservative Summit.
For late afternoon and early evening, the Denver Metro will continue to see a few hit-and-miss showers and storms, otherwise partly cloudy into the overnight. Lows tonight will be low 50s. Lower 80s Wednesday with general sunshine, a stray storm in the afternoon. Upper 80s Thursday with increasing winds, showers, much colder, struggling to get out of the upper 40s Friday. Weather brought to you by Colorado Flat Fee Realty. Pay less, keep more, ColoradoFlatFeeRealty.com. Meteorologist Don Watzel, 710 KNU.
A longtime newsman with an opinion, a proud dad, an American, supporter of our veterans and active duty military. Common sense discussion begins now. This is the Steffan Tubbs Show on News Talk 710 KNUS.
In the newsroom, we'll get more traffic and weather and news throughout the hour. And of course, if news breaks, we'll bring that to you immediately. Attention, all weirdos. I shouldn't say that. We are talking about, and we did not publicize this well because I frankly didn't know about the first congressional hearing on unidentified flying objects in front of Congress. You'd go figure, it's a first congressional hearing on the subject of UFOs, and they call it a bunch of different things. UFOs is what pretty much we'll describe it as. There was a congressional hearing today in D.C. for the first time on this subject in more than 50 years. And we, friends, will get into that. We've got a terrific guest. She said she remembered us. Colorado's state director of MUFON will join us, the Mutual UFO Network, our friend of the program, especially if she remembered us. Katie Grabowski joins us coming up at the bottom of the hour. But I'm going to go through some of the cuts, and thank you, Matt, for pulling these from today's hearing. I personally believe that we are not alone. I truly, truly believe that. I'm a man of faith. I believe in God. I pray for you. In general terms, forgive me, but bless our audience that gives us time. I believe in God. But I also believe that, God would be able to create some kind of other intelligence somewhere. I cannot. I'm not a numbers guy. I tell you all the time. I couldn't even balance my checkbook correctly. I mean, I may be within $100. That's not good. But I'm telling you, I don't do numbers well, and I cannot comprehend how big it is out there. As we've talked with Katie in the past, that Colorado is known around the world as a hotbed for unidentified flying objects. The San Luis Valley, we've talked with several people down there over the years, and I truly believe that we are just talking about a vast expanse that I think really the human mind can barely grasp. I know that some of you are not like me and you're to the penny on your checkbook balance, if anybody does that anymore, but you get my drift. But we're going to talk about that straight ahead, and we'll have sound coming up. Also today, just I guess, items maybe left over from yesterday, and the talk about now the alleged criminal, her name Robin Nicetta, the partner of the former Aurora Police Chief Vanessa Wilson, and what she allegedly did to Councilwoman Danielle Jurinsky yesterday. Just absolutely, positively disgusting.
You're right. Whoever Robin Nasetta's attorney is, this isn't about politics. This is about a woman who was in a position of authority with Arapahoe County Department of Human Services, who used her position to weaponize a system that is in place to protect children.
Danielle Jurinsky from yesterday. If you missed it, you can catch it on podcast hours, parts of hours 2 and 3, the whole hour 2 of yesterday. 24 hours ago, she was in studio with us, and we kept her over and did about 30 more minutes in our 5 o'clock, just in case you missed it. But a source tells me, and I did say yesterday, and I always want to make sure to catch errors or what have you. I had it on good authority that this upcoming potential trial, and I say as a sidebar, to the 18th Judicial District, do not allow this case to be pled out. Do not. The trust, again, Nasetta, innocent until proven guilty. What she did allegedly is not just someone from the Krispy Kreme, the night manager, calling in a false report of sexual child abuse against a politician. Look, Nasetta allegedly did this, but here's fact for you. Someone made the call. And I have a feeling that more than one person, read into it what you will, more than one person knew that this happened. Coincidentally, just 25 hours-ish after Jurinsky was on this radio program talking about how the Aurora police chief is trash and calling for the firing or resignation immediately of said now former Chief Wilson. Somebody did it. And if you believe the evidence, according to the affidavit, that person is the domestic partner of the former police chief, someone who had worked for the past 5 years within the Arapahoe County Department of Human Services. And after 5 years, are we just out here to just be left with the assumption that a Robin Nasetta, after 5 years, she just coinky dinky resigned her position? She wasn't fired. She resigned her position less than 2 full weeks ago. That doesn't look good, Robin. If you follow us on social media, I haven't put it on Facebook yet, but you'll see the Arapahoe County mugshot. Here's what I understand, and then we'll move on to UFOs. What I understand is yesterday, during our program, Nasetta turned herself into police in Glendale. I know there's probably a completely plausible explanation for it. To me, that was weird. And wanting to correct something, I had it on very good authority that this case had already been transferred to the despicable Denver District Attorney Beth McCann, and for the most part, not all of them, but for the most part, her merry band of idiots in the Denver District Attorney's office. And adding just to a very serious story, a little bit of levity, if I may, if there is one district attorney's office and one district attorney among the 22 in Colorado, well, Beth could certainly screw this up, even with the detective, the sergeant with the Arapahoe County Sheriff's Office, who did this, as I said last hour, yeoman's work and did not leave a stone unturned. Nasetta said, according to the affidavit, we read it yesterday. I don't know where Danielle Jurinsky lives. That's interesting because a forensic search on your county-issued laptop to you, Robin Nasetta, just 7 minutes before the call was made. Wow, you Googled, strike that. Sorry. Binged. Is that what you do? Binged? I said yesterday, she's the only person in the history of Arapahoe County that used Bing instead of Google. True story. Well, maybe. Probably not. But just 7 minutes before this call came in, that temporarily for 15 full days, ruined Danielle Jurinsky's life, a single mother wondering if her child is going to be taken from her? Well, that's interesting. Let's see. You Google Danielle Jurinsky address, binged, and then the call happened 7 minutes later. You didn't know the number. How does somebody find the number for the national tip line or what have you? Which is then, I would assume, transferred locally to, in this case, Arapahoe County, Colorado. You want to make a report. Interesting, because about, 5 minutes before the false allegation was made to the tip line, the Bing search on the Arapahoe County issued laptop to one Robin Nicetta. In the search bar on Bing, said, what's the national hotline for the child abuse deal? And then about 4 minutes before the call that was made on January 28th, a Friday, it was, one of them off the top of my head, I remember it was basically the Bing search just 4 minutes before the call. Can calls like this, are they recorded or traced or what have you? And not to mention, like, earlier that day, according to the affidavit, Robin Nicetta had kind of, it sounds like, practiced whether or not the star 67 feature on her cell phone would work and actually block a cell phone number. Man, that's a lot of coinky dinkies. And on top of the fact, she resigned from her position a couple of weeks ago. The big question is going to be, Vanessa Wilson, just come clean. You were a friend of this program. You sat right here in front of me in studio for an hour when you were appointed. You have been on the phone with me. Come on. Nicetta's already thrown you under the bus. She said, according to the affidavit, well, I had my cell phone, and really the only people that day, Friday, January 28th, I had my cell phone, and the only people that would have had access to it, it sounded like initially she was throwing her kids under the bus. Said, well, my 2 kids have access to it, and there's one other person, Vanessa Wilson. Obviously, and this is not a smoking gun at all, as I've indicated, there was communication and 4 different phone calls made from Nicetta's cell phone to the number matching and belonging to Vanessa Wilson. They're domestic partners. They're a couple. That's not a smoking gun. But what Nicetta said was sure interesting in that affidavit, wasn't it? As we discussed yesterday, how she said in so many words, well, I do know this. I didn't do it. Robin, babe, then who did it? Who had your cell phone? You see, the evidence doesn't look too good against you. So to the Arapahoe County District Attorney, the 18th Judicial, which is John Kellner, please don't let this be pled out. And because of the incestuous, if you will, relationship between the city of Aurora, people working with Arapahoe County, etc., there will be a special prosecutor, a source has told me. Now, yesterday I said that it was going to Beth. And apparently that is not true. It will remain, if there is a trial, which there better be. There definitely will be a civil suit, but if it goes to trial, it will be, I am told, and things can change because of change of venue requests, etc. I'm told that this trial will in fact be held in the months ahead, maybe longer. It will be held in the 18th Judicial in Arapahoe County. However, because of that relationship and, well, I know him and I used to work on this case and this guy helped me, there will be assuredly a special prosecutor brought in. Now, immediately I would say, have that special prosecutor be George Brockler. Well, George is a talk show host now, and the things he's already said, I think my dear friend and colleague knows, he would not be getting the case. But if that special prosecutor comes from the idiot Denver District Attorney's Office, can you all not screw up this one? Because that Arapahoe County detective, he sure as hell presented all the evidence on a freaking silver platter. I think I could prosecute this case and be successful. So there you go. And as more information comes in, obviously, the story, sadly, and I do feel sad. Sadly, this story was born on this program, on this frequency, in the 4 p.m. hour on Thursday, January 27th, with the trash comment, and I want her fired. All right, let's get into, do have to pay one bill. Oh, you know what I wanted to do before, and I apologize. I had made, and I want to always be fair and accurate and clearly tell you the truth. Yesterday, I was critical of whether or not this idiot,
So I do believe in radical candor.
Jurinski's colleague, comrade Juan Marcano on city council. Has Juan Marcano reached out? Well, as of this morning at about 8:30, I texted Danielle Jurinski and said, did anybody reach out? Has anybody reached out? Have you heard from Marcano? Have you heard from the mayor of Aurora, Mike Kaufman? As of 8:30, she hadn't heard anything from anybody. But I do understand that Mayor Kaufman did in fact reach out and was fully supportive after 8:30 this morning. Still, to me, I don't know. I'm not crying over spilt milk, but that was a little long to wait. But Mike Kaufman's statement he put out on Facebook, Matt has talked with the Kaufman office today. He has declined once again. That's 2 or 3 times in a row. Declined to come on this program. Thought he was a friend of the program, but my feelings are not hurt. But we were told via a person at the mayor's office that he will not be issuing anything except the following, and I'm not going to read the whole thing. But the statement from Mike Kaufman, the mayor of Aurora, reads as follows: weaponizing Arapahoe County Human Services. Yesterday, a story broke in the media about former Aurora Police Chief Vanessa Wilson's partner, Robin Niceta, who worked as a social worker and case manager for the Arapahoe County Department of Human Services. Niceta was arrested, blah, 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 blah. We know that. Niceta made an anonymous call into her own department. Whew. I think, Mayor, don't get caught with a little libel here. You better say allegedly. Reading as follows: Niceta made an anonymous call into her own department reporting she had observed Jurinski making an unlawful sexual contact with her own child. That was later found to be untrue and suspicious. Investigators were able to trace the call back to Niceta's phone. Should Niceta's efforts have been successful, Jurinski's 2-year-old son would have been taken away from her and placed in foster care. It's hard to imagine anything more insidious than separating a mother from her child for the sake of political retaliation. Good on you, Mayor. Good on you. Mr. Marcano.
So I do believe in radical candor.
With radical candor, you are even a bigger a-hole and D-bag than I even think you are currently. If you still, more than 24 hours after Jurinski's press conference, if you still have not reached out, as I said yesterday, and I will say again today, boy, in situations like this, people's true colors truly shine. Sorry, apologies, asking for your grace. I went a little long on the recap of Jurinski, but I wanted to make sure T's were crossed and I's were dotted. More UFO stuff, or we'll start coming up, and the Colorado State Director of MUFON coming up at the bottom of the hour. Don't turn to credit cards to pay for things. You don't want to do it. Don't get in debt, especially in times like these. It may be easier said than done for some of you, and for that, I'll pray for you for certain. But if you're a homeowner, you need cash, call my friends at the Town Group. If you're a business owner with large write-offs or self-employed with no W-2s, give Melissa, she's terrific to work with, give Melissa at the Town Group a phone call. If she hears your story, you've got equity, maybe you do, well, then maybe you can access that. Melissa at the Town Group specializes in jumbo loans for the self-employed. They can help you get some of that equity out and give you some cash. Silver lining is, with skyrocketing home values, you may be able now to unlock equity in your home that maybe before this you had no access to. If other lenders have said no, give Melissa at the Town Group 5 minutes to hear your story. With that equity, she can likely get you into a loan. That'd be a loan. And if you have the income to buy but limited down payment, call the Town Group before you get priced out of the market. It's 833-MY-JUMBO. That's 833-MY-JUMBO, or online, towngroupmortgage.com. It was a first in more than 50 years on Capitol Hill.
It's a privilege to be here with you today to address your questions regarding unidentified aerial phenomenon, or UAP. What are UAP? Put simply, UAP are airborne objects that, when encountered, cannot be immediately identified. However, it is the department's contention that by combining appropriately structured collected data with rigorous scientific analysis, any object that we encounter can likely be isolated, characterized, identified, and if necessary, mitigated. With regard to the importance of transparency, the department is fully committed to the principle of openness and accountability to the American people. However, we are also mindful of our obligation to protect sensitive sources and methods. Our goal is to strike that delicate balance, one that enables us to maintain the public's trust while preserving those capabilities that are vital to the support of our service personnel. In closing, the department is committed to this effort and welcomes the challenge. We thank you for your committed support and look forward to your questions.
No, that really happened. You know, and I got to, because I'm always transparent on this program, something's wrong with our text dealio, and I'm looking at the wall of love, and there's not one text. I'm going, what's going on? It needed to be refreshed. We had to shut this thing down. I went down and fed the hamsters during the last break, and we're back. I see all your texts, so don't think I'm ignoring you. Just literally within the last 30 seconds, was able to reboot, and there on the wall of love, your messages. So thank you. When we come back, we will talk more about UFOs and today's hearing. In fact, we'll go to the break with one, and then at the bottom of the hour, more sound from the hearing today, and we will talk with the state director, Colorado State Director of MUFON. And MUFON, I always forget this. MUFON is the Mutual UFO Network. Katie Grabowski will join us, and we'll get into it. Why not? I mean, do you really think we're out here all by ourselves? And I know this is a hot-blooded issue because somebody just wrote in, I did see, God would have told us. God would have told us if there were other forms of life anywhere else. Well, okay. But I just believe that it's just beyond our comprehension. Things are so big that we're it. I mean, okay. I want to tell you about my friends at the Black Eyed Pea. If you haven't had food in a while, if you need to get some nourishment, get to them for a late lunch today, dinner tonight with the family, or what have you. Whether it is the grilled salmon, which I absolutely love, or mom's meatloaf, here's a sidebar pro tip. Ask them to grill. Ask them to grill the meatloaf. You will thank me later. You really don't have to, but it's really, really good. They've got more than 30 sides to choose from at the Black Eyed Pea. 9 Colorado locations. There is more than likely one near you right now for lunch or dinner. And they're operated by Colorado small business owners, the mom and pop, as I call them, Steve and Michelle. They've got great salads and soups and burgers. And, of course, the fresh, hot rolls and cornbread come out to your table almost immediately. They've got adult beverages, if that's your thing. Sweet tea is my go-to. I love it. But if it's been a while, you haven't been to the Black Eyed Pea, thank you for all of the texts that come in throughout the month. Over the course of a month, I probably hear 3 or 4 people that say, you know what, thanks. I hadn't been there in a while. And of course, you got to save room. The cake's fine. Yeah, it's fine. It's good. But save room for that iconic banana pudding. It is awesome. That is, unless, say, you're allergic to bananas, and then, well, get the cake. BlackEyedPeaColorado.com. That's BlackEyedPeaColorado.com. And you'll be happy that you especially tried that grilled meatloaf. When we come back, more on today's hearing, and we'll talk with the state director of MUFON. And here's a question for you, and we can take some phone calls as well. Do you believe that we are either A, alone, or B, not alone in the universe? We'll go to the break.
There it was. That's, in many cases, that's all that a report may include. And in many other cases, we have far less than this. As we detailed in both the unclassified and classified versions of the preliminary assessment released by the Office of the Director of National Intelligence last June, this often limited amount of high-quality data and reporting hampers our ability to draw firm conclusions about the nature or intent of UAP. As detailed in the ODNI report,
Trouble in Morgan County, northeast of the metro area. It's a tractor trailer on fire. I-76 shut down. That's between Wiggins and Fort Morgan at US 34, exit 66B. That is causing a delay there. Now, the metro highways were in great shape. We do have some slowdowns, but no big problems. There's a wreck in Littleton on Highway 85, southbound 85, Santa Fe, right at Titan Road, causing a delay there. And a crash causing a backup on Broadway, south of Arapahoe Road. I'm Susan Thielen.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. If you need to hire, you need Indeed. Their hiring platform lets you schedule and conduct virtual interviews all in one place. Learn more at Indeed.com/credit.
Are you ready?
Let's do this.
Let's do it.
710 KNUS presents the Colorado Republican Rumble, a day of debates featuring statewide Republican candidates for Secretary of State, Governor, and U.S. Senate. This Saturday, May 21st at the Grizzly Rose, starting at high noon, featuring News Talk 710's own George Brockler helping moderate the event. Watch it in person or stream it live. Complete details at 710knus.com. The Colorado Republican Rumble, presented by the Republican Women of Weld in partnership with the Adams County Republican Women and News Talk 710. KNUS.
Hi, it's Peter Boyles. Don't go through another summer with that awful joint pain. Call QC Kinetics now. Here's the deal. The pain in your back, your knees, your shoulders, it can be now treated with the latest in precision medicine using natural biologics, growth factors that can restore and repair damaged tissue. Really exciting stuff. It's right here. QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, giving you access right here, this modern day joint pain solutions. You can get lasting joint pain relief, no drugs, no steroids, no downtime, and no surgery. You heard Emmett Smith raving about QC Kinetics. You've heard or seen other high-profile people talking about it. Regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics can help you get your life back again. Take action now. A free consultation, powerful, effective joint pain treatment, natural biologics are right here. So call QC Kinetics now, 303-900-8986. That's 303-900-8986.
I'm Amy Duncan from Alpine Planning Group. There are so many ways to invest anymore. Websites and 800 numbers. Well, at Alpine Planning Group, all we do is personal wealth management. It's about trust, consistency, and communication to our clients to help them realize the results they need for retirement. To learn more or meet, call today 303-843-0918 or visit alpineplanninggroup.com. We're local, experienced, and prepared to plan with you. That's Alpine Planning Group.
Fact, our bodies are under attack every day. Whether it's COVID, vaccines, the air we breathe, the water we drink, and even the food we eat, we are constantly trying to keep up with the Colorado weather, fighting off stress and inflammation. But there's a solution. C60 Complete. C60 Complete is a scientist-formulated, doctor-approved antioxidant supplement that helps you achieve a longer, healthier, and happier life. Do what I'm doing to improve my health and go to purebellavita.com. That's purebellavita.com to get your monthly supply today.
The future will be amazing, and that's all well and good. But what about today? You can feel the rush of a 400 horsepower Nissan Z, or climb to new heights in the all-terrain Nissan Frontier. Light up the road in the all-electric Nissan Ariya that feels like a sci-fi dream come true. The future will be great, but today is made for thrill. All you have to do is get in a Nissan and drive. 2023 Ariya and Z not yet available for purchase. Expected availability is this spring for 2023 Z and this fall for 2023 Ariya.
At Progressive, we know there's nothing like the feeling of riding a motorcycle with your crew on the open road. That symphony of engines roaring in perfect harmony. It's a feeling that would be impossible to recreate on the radio. Until now. Hit it, Jerry. Oh, my word. Really, really terrible. Is that a glockenspiel, Jerry? Quote with Progressive and see if you could save with America's #1 motorcycle insurer. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. No, Jerry. It's over.
News Talk 710, KNUS.
Listen live on Odyssey.
Wall Street had a good day. I'll give you the closing bell numbers coming up in our next news update right here on News Talk 710 KNUS.
Now, back to Steffan Tubbs, News Talk 710, KNUS.
We apologize, but because of the attorneys, we cannot have any music on our podcasts. The lawyers are getting involved, and it's just ugly, and I want to keep my job. But thank you. Yeah, I have my 35th high school reunion coming up this summer. And the reason why I thought, well, you know what? It was just too heavy. No Music Monday yesterday. Tune Tuesday today. Songs that were hits from 1987. Because just last night I got an email. Hey, you haven't sent us any money for the reunion. So, and actually, now that I think about it, I was supposed to get that out in the mail today. Sorry. We are talking this hour about what happened earlier today, the first congressional hearing on the subject of UFOs in more than 50 years.
Of those 144, 18 of them reportedly appear to exhibit unusual flight characteristics, appear to demonstrate advanced technology, and some of them appeared to remain stationary in winds aloft, move against the wind, maneuver abruptly, or move at considerable speed without discernible means of propulsion. That's pretty intriguing. And if you're able to answer this in this setting, are we aware of any foreign adversary capable of moving objects without any discernible means of propulsion?
The chair of the House subcommittee, Representative Andre Carson, a Democrat from Indiana, he chairs the subcommittee on counterterrorism, counterintelligence, and counterproliferation. He said in opening remarks earlier today, and I quote, "This hearing and our oversight work has a simple idea at its core. Unidentified aerial phenomena are a potential national security threat, and they need to be treated that way." Close quote.
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude.
Now that audio, look, you know how I feel, hopefully, about our veterans and our active duty military. Those dudes ain't lying. They may not be able to say what they saw, but that ain't made up. It is great to have our friend of the program back on, Katie Grabowski. She's the Colorado State Director for MUFON, which is the Mutual UFO Network. I got to be honest, Katie, Matt just warmed my heart when he passed along. You say that you remember this program. Aw, thank you.
Of course I do. Of course I do.
Thank you so much.
What a big day. What a big day for ufology today, right?
Yeah, I've never even heard ufology. I love that. Matt had told me that you watched the hearings today. Take all the time you need and give us your thoughts.
I did. First thing this morning. First of all, they moved it up an hour. So it was like quick last minute notice. Oh, it's on right now, which is interesting. Let's start with the good news. The good news is they're trying their best to remove the stigma of reporting these UAPs. I still like to call them UFOs.
Me too.
But, there's such a stigma with the tinfoil hat, and pilots would lose their jobs if they talked about these things. And our military men and women, would be laughed at and shunned in that. So the good news is having a hearing like this is trying to remove that stigma. And in fact, they're, making protocols through the UAP task force to actually report these unidentified things flying around in our skies. So that's the good news, and the more we discuss this, the better off we're all going to be. So to have these open conversations about this topic and this phenomenon.
Remind me of what's the acronym UAP?
UAP, unidentified aerial phenomenon. However, I still go with the old-fashioned UFO, unidentified flying objects.
Me too. And you're going to be with us up until the top of the hour, and we've got one news break we will take. But when you talk about that Sigma, I mean, it's true, right? I mean, and I said earlier before you came on, look, I just have a hard time believing, even though I believe in God, I'm a man of faith. I have a hard time believing that because I can't get my personal brain around how big the universe is, I just try to use some logic and go, could it really be that big? And yet we're it. And so I believe, I don't know if I necessarily believe in little green men, so to speak, but I don't think, and I don't think there should be, and you were on with us before. I think you kind of know we're kind of friendly territory because I believe in what you believe in. I just couldn't put a finger on it. But this does this add, and what kind of legitimacy does a hearing like this add to the things that you guys at MUFON talk about?
Right. Well, have you seen the footage of, I believe it's Republican Tim Burchett? I'm not sure what state he's out of, but there's video footage of him talking about how he was a little bit disappointed in this congressional hearing today, that, the public should know these secrets should not be kept any longer and the people can handle it. And the reporter woman, who's actually right over his right shoulder, if you're looking at the interview on TV, she is like, you can see the shock and disbelief, kind of almost rolling her eyes, like, really? You believe that there's little green men? You believe it? And he talked about his faith and that he's a religious man. And he said exactly what you just said, that this universe is so vast, it's hard to believe we're the only ones out there, quoting from Contact, right? What a waste of empty space. However, the second question is, do they have the technology and the means to visit our planet? That's a whole other ball of wax. So, and I started out when I came into this field and I started researching, I don't know, listeners listened to me before, but in the late 70s, I had a lot of unusual things that happened out here in Elbert County that I couldn't find answers to. So I joined to research those things. And I came in as a skeptic. And I'm one of those people who really like to have data and proof and statistics and that.
Right.
So it took me a lot of years to kind of, even when you're in it and you're reading books and gobbling up all the information you can, it took me years to get my head around the fact that, wait a minute, we have so many incredible reports from very credible people, pilots, law enforcement, our military men and women. So yes, I do believe now that there is definitely something that's interested in what we're doing. In fact, I really think they're interested in our military in particular.
Yeah, I think they're interested in your phone line right now from Elbert County. We're going to see if we can get just a little bit better connection. But again, our guest is the Colorado State Director of MUFON, which is the Mutual UFO Network. Katie Grabowski is her name, and we're happy to have her on until 5 o'clock. And we can continue this into the 5 o'clock hour as well. If you've had an experience, maybe it is, and I'm not trying to bait you, but maybe this, finally you're hearing somebody talk about it. I don't think you're crazy if you think you've experienced something. And I mean, I may have a hell of a lot of questions, but this is a place where, look, we've talked about Sasquatch and it's been a while, but we talk about these things. And I do know that there are people that believe. And the one thing I do remember about Katie is that she was driven by statistics, not just some backyard, now cell phone video. Look at it. What is that light? I mean, how do you explain, this is not a question for you or Katie, and we'll get her back on, but how do you explain those weird lights above, say, Vegas or Phoenix over the years? There may be a plausible explanation, but then sometimes when you hear about those stories, they contact the they contact the military, for example. No, we don't have anything going on. And the other thing is, and I want to get to Katie on the other side of the break. In fact, we'll take that coming up momentarily and get her back on. The fact that, I think there is a pervasive attitude, whether it's Area 51 or Roswell or what have you, there seems to be, at least if you read your history, that, well, the government feels that you, friend, you just couldn't take it. See, that kind of stuff is total bull to me. It's like, if you've got it, then let us know. Oh, well, there's some things you don't need to know. No, not in 2022. So we'll continue. We'll take a quick time out. Want to tell you about our friends at The Garage, Superior BMW service. Get to The Garage, but now they service all vehicles. So if you have a BMW like I do, use The Garage for all your service needs, but it doesn't matter what you drive. If you've got a problem, they can fix it and get you back on the road. If you do drive a BMW, you'll be happy because this is definitely some savings. Just check a dealer's prices. KNUS has a $99 full synthetic BMW oil change special going on right now. It's a terrific value. Small print, it does exclude diesels and M cars. The Garage has a team of professionals. I've taken the kids' beater BMW in and the one I drive. They're terrific. You're not paying dealer prices or getting hassled every time you come in. They have the tools, talent, and training at the Garage to take care of all of your vehicle's service needs and terrific customer care. Be sure to get that KNUS $99 full synthetic BMW oil change special or any of your auto service or repair needs. There are two locations for you, just off Santa Fe and Union in Englewood or in Parker on Dransfeld south of Lincoln. Check them out online. Tell them Steffan sent you. BMWRepairExperts.com. That's BMWRepairExperts.com. And we are back. We are not mocking, but we're talking about the congressional hearing today with Katie Grabowski. She joins us on the other side of the break.
News Talk 710. Update.
Mostly cloudy, windy, 78 degrees right now in Denver. The 710 5-day forecast coming right up. Exemplary and calm. Those were the words Captain Chris Nye used for flight attendant Diana Geraldo's heroic task of delivering a baby recently in mid-flight. According to a tweet from Frontier, the baby couldn't wait, so the early and unexpected labor took place on a flight from Denver to Orlando. Diana helped the mother to the back lavatory, assisted the mother in giving birth. The baby's fine. Mom is fine. The mom opted to name the baby's middle name Sky. Frontier would not disclose when that actually did take place. Colorado Metropolitan Auto Theft Task Force, or CMAT, the agency in charge of tracking vehicle thefts in multiple counties across Denver. According to CMAT, motor vehicle thefts increased 24% in the first quarter of 2022 when compared to the first quarter of 2021. On average, nearly 100 vehicles are stolen each day in the Denver metro area. AT&T Sportsnet reported that their reporter, Kelsey Wingert, was hit by a foul ball during Monday night's game against the Giants. She's doing well now after receiving some medical attention. Rockies host the Giants again tonight at Coors Field. This update brought to you by Allstate. Looking to save money with DriveWise from Allstate? The safer you drive, the more you can save. At Allstate, better protection costs a whole lot less. Visit allstate.com or call an agent for a quote today. Good day on Wall Street. Dow finished up 431 points. NASDAQ up 321, S&P 500 up 80. Wake up with George Brockler weekday mornings from 6 to 10. Only on News Talk 710 KNUS, the official station of the 2022 Western Conservative Summit. I'm Roger Criddlebaugh.
Trouble in Morgan County, northeast of the metro area. Tractor trailer on fire. I-76 shut down at US 34. That's between Wiggins and Fort Morgan. Driving the metro area, we're looking good. Now we're heavier up and down these highways, but no crashes. There's no problems here. 270 dealing with some stop-and-go traffic. That I-25 drive getting busy downtown to the Tech Center. Heavier on 225. I do watch for a crash back in a Broadway south of Arapahoe and a wreck at Green Valley Ranch and Pena Boulevard. I'm Susan Phelan.
This report is sponsored by Discover. When it comes to your credit card, Discover believes in having real people available 24/7 to help answer your questions. Discover. Exceptionally common sense.
For late afternoon and early evening, the Denver Metro will continue to see a few hit-and-miss showers and storms, otherwise partly cloudy into the overnight. Lows tonight will be low 50s. Lower 80s Wednesday with general sunshine, a stray storm in the afternoon. Upper 80s Thursday with increasing winds, showers, much colder, struggling to get out of the upper 40s Friday. Weather brought to you by Colorado Flat Fee Realty. Pay less, keep more, ColoradoFlatFeeRealty.com. Meteorologist Don Watzel, 710 KNUS.
This is an important notice to consumers facing $10,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or other unsecured debt. You're not required to pay it all back because there are special programs now in effect that will significantly reduce the amount you will owe if you qualify. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. These programs, which the credit card companies like to keep secret, exist to aid American consumers struggling with overwhelming credit card debt by offering tremendous savings and real debt relief. Accredited Debt Relief has established a special hotline for you to call and learn what savings you qualify for. They've helped qualify consumers with over $1 billion in debt and are A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. So don't wait. Get the relief you need during these hard economic times. For this free information, call the Accredited Debt Relief Hotline now. Call 800-786-2300. 800-786-2300. That's 800-786-2300.
Welcome to Mikasa,
Oh
Catherine.
my, is that a Picasso?
No, don't touch
It's
it.
covering a hole in your wall.
Yeah, I had leaks, but the plumber who repiped doesn't do drywall.
It doesn't?
Mm-mm.
Repipe specialists would have repiped and offered to fix the holes in your walls.
Got leaks? Repipe specialists will repipe your house in 1 or 2 days and offer to fix the drywall. Call 303-228-2540 for a free in-home estimate and pay nothing down and no payments or interest for a year. That's 303-228-2540 or visit repipe.com.
News Talk 710, KNUS.
Listen live on Odyssey.
More. Now, back to Steffan Tubbs. News Talk 710, KNUS.
To begin the 5 o'clock hour. Why? Well, there's a lot of stuff to talk about, but we love variety on this program. And Katie, I hope we have a little bit better connection with you, but I want to ask you, because and thank you for agreeing to stay on a little longer. Give us, you said in the 70s, some things happened to you. Were you a non-believer before stuff that happened to you? How do you get involved and then, say, look, this is legitimate. People are seeing things. There is life out there.
Right. That's an interesting question, because out there in the late 70s, I graduated 3 years before you, so I missed my 35-year reunion. But so, I'm 9 to 12 years old when this happened. So it's not like necessarily you are a believer or a non-believer, but it just wasn't me out there. This is, for those of you who are interested in this topic, there's somebody really well known named Linda Moulton Howe, and she was an investigative reporter out here in the Denver area at the time. And in Elbert County, there was a rash of mutilations going on, cattle mutilations. So this affected, dozens and dozens of people. But not only cattle mutilations, but they were seeing strange lights in the sky. And we had Sheriff George Yarnell up in airplanes and the Undersheriff Bill Waugh out there, and they all experienced unusual things. We had 2 interceptors out of Buckley, A-7Ds, that actually crashed out there near Elizabeth. And in the reports that I dug up from people out in Laramie that were investigating all these strange things, they said these interceptors were in pursuit of a UAP or a UFO. So I FOIA'd and got the request back on the data on that aircraft, on that crash. Both pilots did survive, but the report was kind of fascinating. So was I a believer? I didn't know. I didn't know what was military involved, and still to this day, after 10 years of research on the area, we do know that the Colorado Bureau of Investigations and the Air Force Camp Carson was actually on property out there in Kiowa. So they were aware of these unusual things that were occurring out there. So I don't know how much of it was military or, special black access projects that were happening out there at the time, and how much of it was, unexplained phenomenon. So this has been going on, really since Roswell in 1947, that we have mysteries around this. And I think it's great that we have people like that Tim Burchett that, says, yay, the people can handle it. We can handle the truth. It's about time.
Yeah, I want to ask you.
you know.
I want to ask you about that in just a second. About if you feel that there is this kind of pervasive that, well, if, and the heavy emphasis is on if the United States has, say, an alien body or a piece of a craft or what have you, let's not get into it because the American public couldn't handle it. I want to get that. But first, and friends listening, this is proof positive that you have no idea when we're going to give things away on this radio station. Right now, we will take caller number 7 at 303-696-1971. Caller number 7, you will win a 2-day pass, 2-day pass to the upcoming Western Conservative Summit on Us. So give us a call. Caller number 7 right now, 303-696-1971. The reason why we're talking with Katie right now, and again, she is the Colorado State Director of MUFON, which is the Mutual UFO Network, is because today something historic happened. It was the first time in more than 50 years that there was a congressional hearing on UAPs, or I'm with Katie, UFOs. And it was, it was historic.
It's also been reported that there have been UAP observed and interacting with and flying over sensitive military facilities, particularly, and not just ranges, but some facilities housing our strategic nuclear forces. One such incident allegedly occurred at Malmstrom Air Force Base.
I mean, these people, Katie, they don't sound like, crazies. They don't sound like they're wearing the tinfoil hat, as you had indicated. But let me ask you, let me ask you about, do you think, kind of a multiple part question, do you think that we have signs of alien life? The government perhaps has this information. And do you think that the government has taken this attitude of, well, we just can't freak everybody out? The American public, no matter your decade, that we couldn't take the risk. People would freak out. We just can't let them know the real truth. What do you think?
100%. I mean, there's also the liability issue. I've always been really interested why the Navy. So the Navy has come out in 2017 with the Nimitz, the Tic Tac, the Gimbal, the Go Fast, and they're the ones that have put together the UAP task force. But why is the Air Force being quiet? And I think it's liability. I think absolutely that we have been back engineering things from Pri 47, Roswell. A lot of people don't know, but you would be amazed at how many other, Roswell is the most well-known, but 1947, there was a huge wave of UFO reports and sightings, mostly over New Mexico. Different, Socorro. Socorro is a great case. So the more you research and about this, the Aztec incident, so many different incidents that there's also the Roswell alien body that I've been researching for 3.5 years.
You think that exists?
100%. Yes. And believe me, I've done sleepless nights researching this stuff. And I, like I said, about 3.5 years ago, I was handed, so there was a Brigadier General Arthur Exxon, and he said that one of the Roswell bodies ended up in a mortuary outfit in Denver, actually.
I remember you telling us that. Yeah.
Yes. And, we have an Eisenhower-Mamie Denver connection. So I've been to the Eisenhower archives, and it's a fascinating tale. It involves the Masons, and it involves a particular lodge in Denver by Fitzsimmons and Lowry. So this runs deep. I'm not going to give away everything I've uncovered because it's a pretty groundbreaking. But like I've said, I'm following this path of documents, and there's a federal judge that was involved. And the interesting thing about the judge, he was appointed by Nixon, and he was a local federal judge here in Denver. And he actually was the crash retrieval specialist judge and the infectious disease judge.
Wow. Amazing stuff.
This is real. And I think that the Air Force has liability issues, that they can't bring this forward. And one of the things that really struck out for me,
I'm going to stop you. I'm going to stop you because the computer's going to cut me off, but we're going to leave you in suspense. I want you on the other side of the newscast to pick this up. Again, our great guest, she's a friend of the program, Katie Grabowski, the Colorado State Director of the MUFON, Mutual UFO Network. Send me the texts. Do you believe? She sure does. I do as well. And I certainly don't have a tinfoil hat on, at least right now. 5 o'clock news is next.
Hi, it's Peter Boyles here to remind you to be sure to log on 710knus.com and click on the Peter Boyles Book Club banner and watch this week's video podcast. And when you join the book club, you can see all of my video interviews, get early bird invitations, attend all live events, best-selling writers and authors, and register to win copies of our featured titles every month. And remember, it's free to sign up at 710knus.com and click the book club banner today.
As prices continue to rise, don't turn to your credit cards to pay for everything. Hi, Steffan Tubbs for Town Group Mortgage. You know, paying off your debt now is really more important than ever. If you're a homeowner and you need cash, call my friends at the Town Group. If you're a business owner with large write-offs or self-employed, no W-2s, give Melissa at the Town Group just 5 minutes to hear your story. They specialize in jumbo loans for the self-employed for your current, next, or forever home. Now, the silver lining is with skyrocketing home values, you can now maybe unlock equity that you hadn't had before. It's perfect for, say, doing summer projects or maybe taking a vacation. Don't let inflation and credit card debt eat away at your lifestyle. If other lenders have said no, give Melissa, again, just a few minutes. If you've got the equity, she can likely get you into a loan. Call them today before you get priced out of the market. 833-MY-JUMBO. That's 833-MY-JUMBO or online, towngroupmortgage.com.
Do you have joint pain in your knees or hips or shoulder or back? Pro football legend Emmitt Smith knows how disruptive it is.
How can you focus? How can you be at your optimal best when your body's under attack by pain?
That's why Emmitt's such a proponent of QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics is here with regenerative options using natural biologics, non-surgical alternatives that offer lasting relief for pain in your knees, hips, lower back, and shoulders.
This natural biological treatment gives them the chance to get back in the game and to have a normal life.
QC Kinetics treatments laser focus on areas of intense pain, allowing your body to heal itself with no drugs, so you can focus on normal life.
Walking up the stairs without pain, getting on your bicycle without pain, running again, playing with the kids.
Your consultation is absolutely free.
Call QC Kinetics, 303-900-8986. That's 303-900-8986. QC Kinetics, 303-900-8986.
The future will be amazing, and that's all well and good. But what about today? You can feel the rush of a 400-horsepower Nissan Z, or climb to new heights in the all-terrain Nissan Frontier. Light up the road in the all-electric Nissan Ariya that feels like a sci-fi dream come true. The future will be great, but today is made for thrill. All you have to do is get in a Nissan and drive. 2023 Ariya and Z not yet available for purchase. Expected availability is this spring for 2023 Z and this fall for 2023 Ariya.
KNUS Denver, a Salem Media Group station.
News Talk 710, the official station of the 2022 Western Conservative Summit. Get tickets online at 710knus.com.
Crash up north, causing a delay southbound I-25 approaching Erie. Left lane blocked off there, a slow back toward Highway 52. And I-76 remains closed in Morgan County between Wiggins and Fort Morgan. I-76 shut down at US 34 due to a tractor-trailer fire. I'm Susan Phelan.
This report is sponsored by Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag. Wendy's Biggie Bag is just $5. Get your choice of a double stack junior bacon cheeseburger or crispy chicken BLT plus 4-piece nugs, small fries, and a small drink, all for $5. U.S. price of participation may vary.
Denver's local talk leader. News Talk 710 KNUS. The news now.
It's 5 o'clock. Good evening. Mostly cloudy, windy, 78 degrees. We're going down to a low of 50 tonight. 7:10 5-day forecast coming up. Our top story, President Biden, First Lady Jill Biden met with families today of the supermarket shooting in Buffalo, where 10 people were killed by a shooter. Mr. Biden denounced white supremacy as poison.
Failure in saying that is going to be complicity. Silence is complicity. It's complicity. We cannot remain silent.
Meanwhile, police in Dallas have made an arrest in connection with last week's shooting in the Asian-run Hair World salon. Police Chief Eddie Garcia says Jeremy Smith is now facing 3 charges of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon for wounding at least 3 people in the attack. Garcia hopes news of the arrest provides some measure of comfort while making one point crystal clear.
Hate has no place in our city.
This department, the men and women of the Dallas Police Department deeply care about the people we serve.
This update brought to you by Allstate. Saving money feels pretty good. Allstate, better protection costs a whole lot less. Visit allstate.com or call an agent for a quote today. 12 more injured protesters sued Denver today, alleging police officers needlessly gassed them and shot them with projectiles without warning during the 2020 protest over the murder of George Floyd. Ex-Bronco Philip Lindsay signed a one-year contract with the Colts today. Dow finished up 431 points, S&P 500 up 80, NASDAQ up 321 points. Wake up with George Brockler weekday mornings from 6 to 10, only on News Talk 710 KNUS, the official station of the 2022 Western Conservative Summit.
For late afternoon and early evening, the Denver Metro will continue to see a few hit-and-miss showers and storms, otherwise partly cloudy into the overnight. Lows tonight will be low 50s. Lower 80s Wednesday with general sunshine, a stray storm in the afternoon. Upper 80s Thursday with increasing winds, showers, much colder, struggling to get out of the upper 40s Friday. Weather brought to you by Colorado Flat Fee Realty. Pay less, keep more, ColoradoFlatFeeRealty.com. Meteorologist Don Watt.
Now, back to Steffan Tubbs, News Talk 710, KNUS.
For the second day in a row, we continue a guest from an hour into the first segment of a new hour. We'll get to our guest, and I'll let you know who she is coming up in just a moment. Steffan Tubbs, producer Matt Steinkruger, Roger in the newsroom. Pleasure to have you later on this hour. We will give you the very latest. I talked with a couple of sources today when it comes to the former police chief in Aurora, Vanessa Wilson, and her alleged criminal partner. Not partner that way, but domestic partner, Robin Nicetta, who is accused of making a false report against Councilwoman Danielle Jurinsky. The allegation, she was sexually abusing her 2-year-old. Somebody made the call. Allegedly, it was Nicetta. I'll give you what I know and what my sources are telling me coming up just about the bottom of the hour. We will also talk about Buffalo and the president's visit there earlier today.
I call on all Americans to reject the lie, and I condemn those who spread the lie for power, political gain, and for profit.
10 dead in the supermarket shooting in Buffalo, New York over the weekend. And of course, we had our own supermarket shooting a little more than a year ago in Boulder. I'll give you why I think, well, the president did something today that is a prime example of simple, good old-fashioned politics. We'll talk about that. But in the meantime, the reason why we continue our guest from last hour, first of all, I talked a lot. Secondly, she is absolutely terrific. Katie Grabowski is the Colorado State Director of the Mutual UFO Network. And before we get to her, the reason why we're talking about this, now granted, I love variety on the program. We'll pull out something out of our hat, so to speak, and there's no news peg or anything like that. We do stuff like that. But today, for the first time in more than 50 years, a House subcommittee met. It was the first congressional hearing on the subject of UAPs. You and I know them, I think, better than anything as UFOs for the first time in more than 5 decades. Here's how it started.
It's a privilege to be here with you today to address your questions regarding unidentified aerial phenomenon, or UAP. What are UAP? Put simply, UAP are airborne objects that, when encountered, cannot be immediately identified. However, it is the department's contention that by combining appropriately structured collected data with rigorous scientific analysis, Any object that we encounter can likely be isolated, characterized, identified, and if necessary, mitigated.
Now, the question is, are we alone? I'm a man of faith. I believe in God. I pray, believe it or not, even for you every night, our listeners. Granted, it's a big prayer. But I also, I still always, I tell you, I try to speak common sense, think common sense wise, and have my feet on the ground. The universe is so freaking big. I don't think, save for maybe a handful of people, the Stephen Hawkings, maybe Albert Einstein, can they really grasp it? I mean, they do better than me, but I just have a hard time believing we are alone. And I've told you many times over the years, I'm not a conspiracy theorist guy. I believe people like our guests that have done research. She joins us from beautiful Elbert County, Colorado. Again, Katie Grabowski, the Colorado State Director of MUFON, the Mutual UFO Network. I want to ask you, you watched the congressional hearings today, and you had mentioned they even started early, so you were up early and watching. I want to get to overall, the take that you took from this, but calling it UAPs, maybe this is just a real simple question. Do you think part of it is getting away from UFO because we all grew up with the Twilight Zone, et cetera?
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. They're trying to move away from the tinfoil hat, and that's good. And like I said, this hearing was wonderful for, awareness and removing stigma. That's the good news. Now, what I really took away from it, though, is, first of all, obviously this should be a bipartisan topic, right? But they kept using the word control.
Interesting.
And I really felt like they're trying to control some sort of narrative. So they showed some footage. First of all, Deputy Director of Naval Intelligence, Scott Bray, he was wonderful. I thought he did an excellent job. And then I thought it was interesting how they kind of went, I believe he was the Undersecretary of the Defense for Homeland Intelligence.
Now, let me interrupt you, Katie.
Moultrie.
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt, but let me just, the people you're describing, these are not your nut jobs on a corner in some place outside of Area 51 in Nevada trying to sell you a map or a t-shirt. These people are legitimate.
Yeah, these people know. So first of all, I was really shocked by how ill-prepared this was put together. Like, I was kind of expecting they would have, Naval, Air Force, eyewitnesses to some of these events. And then they showed a little video footage from a 2021 U.S. Navy pilot. And this unidentified UAP object moves super fast. And they took like several minutes to try and freeze it. I believe it was Adam Schiff. He was like, well, what are we looking at here? And they're, messing around trying to get it frozen right on this unidentified object. And they kind of, not belittled, but they were questioning, I think his name was Ronald I don't know how to pronounce it, Moultrie, the Undersecretary of Defense, and asking him, do you go to, Star Trek conventions,
right,
and kind of, and I'm like, why would you do that and even bring that up? Most people who are interested in space, we grew up in that generation with Close Encounters of the Third Kind and Star Trek and all that. So I just thought there was a little hint of kind of nudging, like maybe we shouldn't take this so seriously.
You know what? I think it goes back to what you said about the narrative. It's easy to mock. It's easy for the government, especially, to say, you've got a beautiful ice cold beer in one hand and somebody's thirsty, but they'll tell you, no, there's nothing over there. Look at this hand. There's nothing. You know what I'm saying? And again, I'm not a conspiracy guy.
Right. And the fact that they were saying they didn't know about Maelstrom in Montana and these, we in Cheyenne, Wyoming, Francis Warren, several witnesses, high-ranking witnesses saw UAPs over their nuclear facilities. I mean, this is very common that we have these unidentified flying objects over our nuclear weapons storage facilities. In fact, they've even shut them down, and there's even been one report of them turning them on, which is quite frightening.
Wow.
And the fact that they're saying they don't know anything about that, I don't believe that they don't. I mean, it would just be scary if they didn't know about these reports. Of course they do. And of course, then there's always the threat. Everything's a threat, and I believe that's financially, based. They need money and funding, and it could possibly be a threat. We have these things flying around with these 5 observables, stopping on a dime. So these things can be in air and then go underwater and then out again. That's the other interesting thing I took away from this hearing was when the underwater UFOs were even mentioned, it was quickly diverted, and they said, we will talk about this behind closed doors.
Wow.
So
hello,
Yeah.
red flag there. This is some of the amazing military audio we've heard over the years.
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude. That's not our LNS, though, is it? It's not. That is an LNS, dude. Well, if there's like look at that thing. It's rotating. Nickel 6-1 Tango, small check. Oh, got it!
They lock on right here.
Roger. There's troubleshooting as soon as Did you box moving target? No, I took an auto track. Oh, okay. Oh my gosh, dude. Wow. Look at it fly.
Yeah, that sounds totally fake to me. Not. I mean, come on. Are you kidding? Again, Katie Grabowski joins us. You know what? I don't know if you guys, if we join MUFON, but I'm telling you, I'll say this live on the air. Matt and I, if you have a membership, we're going to become members.
Oh, perfect.
We're going to, I don't think
I'm
you're
gonna
crazy.
plug Colorado. Yeah, I'm going to plug Colorado MUFON really quick. If
Yeah.
you're interested, you can go to CO MUFON, MUFON.
MUFON, okay.
.org. And we have a meeting the second Saturday of every month. We just had David Pilates, which is not necessarily UFOs, but he is Missing 411, has written several books about people who go missing in the national forest. Interesting topic in of itself.
Are
Where
you
these people going?
Yeah. Do you have, if you have a meeting a couple of times a month or whatever, are these, please know I love you. Are these quote unquote normal people, or are they kind of, are they kind of out there, if you know what I mean?
You would be amazed at how normal the people
Great.
are. We have a lot of military people, a lot of police officers, pilots, people from all walks of life, males, females, all ages, young, old. And next month, actually, the second Saturday of next month, we have one of the most respected top UFO historians. He lives outside of Albuquerque, New Mexico, and he actually has one of the biggest repositories of UFO data in the whole United States. His name is David Marler, and he will be our guest next month. So he is a very, very serious guy, and he is an expert on triangles, which they did show the triangle video today at the hearing, which they're saying could be a drone. It's night vision goggles. It's very interesting footage, but David Marler is an expert on triangles and also the Battle of LA. So another thing that came up today in the hearing was, hey, have our military ever engaged these unidentified objects? And they're like, no, not that we're aware of. Again, another lie, because the Battle of LA is one of the biggest. I mean, we
you can
shot
Google that,
hundreds
yeah.
of rounds.
Right.
Oh yeah. So I believe today was interesting. It was great because it's removing stigma. So I want our men and women, our pilots, our military to be able to comfortably report without being made fun of. But again, you always have to look at these things with, discerning eyes, because there is some control that's going on here, because I believe they're losing control of the narrative.
Yeah.
And that's frightening for them. So they want to try and control what's coming out and when.
Well, as we continue with the state director of MUFON, I got a billion questions, and I know you've got to get going within the next few minutes. But where is the meeting? Where are the meetings held?
Yeah, I don't live in Elbert County anymore. I actually live in Centennial, but we actually we're really close to the Centennial Airport. So like Jordan and Arapahoe Road. We meet at the Waterworks building over there.
Nice. We are going to be there, come hell or high water, or UAP UFOs. Matt and I want to attend, and we'll get information offline. And then what I want you to do, if we could do some planning, is ahead of that event with David Marler, why don't you come on with us, and we can promote it, and perhaps even get him on the program, or I can interview him there. Again, our guest is the state director of Colorado MUFON, and that is COMUFON for Colorado MUFON.org, COMUFON.org. The Battle of Los Angeles, by the way, February 24th, 1942. And of course, that is at the start of World War II for the United States. And that, of course, has been kind of the cover story, if you will. If you believe in there was something else going on, but it was thought to be a rumored attack on the continental United States by, of course, Japan. So we'll talk about that. I feel like I could have you on for 4 hours. You mentioned Congressman Tim Burchett, who was there. I want to play for you, and thank you, Matt, for pulling this from earlier this afternoon.
I believe there's something else out there. I really do.
Is this something?
I'm not an abductee, and I know you're going to make me into some tinfoil hat wearing redneck, but the reality is that, and I quote my Bible: "Profess yourself to be wise, you became a fool." And I just don't believe we have all the knowledge that we think we do. And I think if you think Congress is the best that we can do, then you're wrong.
So why is something American?
Yeah, I mean, amen to what he said. Katie, I'll get your reaction in a second. But earlier in the afternoon, Representative Burchett from Tennessee said the following from his offices. This is not, Representative Burchett and his own personal little Twitter. This is officially from his congressional Twitter account. Quote, "The UFO hearing this morning was a total joke. We should have heard from people who could talk about things they'd personally seen, but instead the witnesses were government officials with limited knowledge who couldn't give real answers to serious questions." And then it goes on. The American public wants to know, and this stuff right here does not do anything for their confidence in what's going on because we just got hosed, basically. Wow.
100% agree. Like I said, they were ill prepared. They didn't show the best footage that's available. And believe me, as being state director, I get to see all the reports. Now, MUFON is a worldwide organization. We kind of took over from Project Blue Book back in 1969. So we get reports worldwide. Colorado has been super busy lately. And granted, yes,
wait a minute, lately?
Yeah, lately, all
Wow.
the time. We get reports. I mean, we've been busy. Actually, 2 reports came in today locally.
Wait. God, I can keep you forever. 2 reports of what came in today?
UAP or a UFO, an unidentified flying object that somebody witnessed. Now, and another stigma that is, people believe you only see these things at night. That is not true. Some of my best reports came during the day, daytime sightings, close-up sightings. And granted, we can solve 90% of what people are reporting. I mean, misidentified, all sorts of things.
And you
we get
want
a lot
that.
of Starlink satellites.
Yeah,
Of course.
you want that.
Of course. Yeah. And most people are happy to learn what they're witnessing. But then we have that handful, that 10% or so, roughly, that we can't explain. And Colorado does have hot spots. Colorado Springs, San Luis Valley, we're still getting reports from those areas. So, yeah, it's ongoing. A lot of sightings around our military bases. So, and especially with things, going on in Ukraine and Russia and all that, maybe our ET friends are really curious on what we're going to do next. We are not the most peaceful, nonviolent species in the universe, I'm sure. So I'm sure they're worried about our nuclear weapons and whatnot. So who knows?
Wow. The texts are coming in. Please ask your guests, since space is so vast and it would take forever to get here, any chance these UAPs are local or come from the ocean?
That is a theory for sure. Some people, if you're going to hide under our ocean. So that is definitely, a thought. And some people believe that's true. Some people believe they've been here for thousands of years and do come in and out of our oceans, flying on anti-gravitational propulsion systems where, everything's comfy and cozy on the inside and they're just riding along. Some people also believe that there could be wormholes or portals or things like that going on, which would explain other phenomenon as well, but we won't go down that woo-woo hole.
Yeah. Thank you very much. This is how the congressional hearing today, again, friends, for the first time in more than 5 decades, a congressional hearing on UFOs. And as Katie has really eloquently stated, it sounded like it was not the greatest of of hearings, and you heard from the representative what I read, and you heard sound from Tim Burchett of Tennessee, that it's like, come on, this is not the time to mock or to joke about little green men, because do you trust this guy? And this is not to you, Katie, but I mean, in general, any of you out there, do you really truly think that you know everything that the United States government does about potential other life? This is how it ended.
How about wreckage? Have we come across any wreckage of any kind of object that has now been examined by you?
The UAP task force doesn't have any wreckage that isn't explainable, that isn't consistent with being of terrestrial origin.
Do we have any sensors underwater to detect on submerged UAPs? Anything that is in the ocean or in the seas?
So I think that would be more appropriately addressed in closed session, sir.
Okay.
Wait,
Basically,
what?
it sounds like we have a good partnership with FAA. But apart from FAA, we don't have partnerships with other agencies or other entities that might be tracking so that we could enlarge our data set to make comparisons.
So we will. So that's the goal of this next effort, will be to expand that relationship with the rest of government and the interagency.
Right. With that, I want to thank you all for taking the time out. I also want to thank my colleagues on both sides of the aisle for participating in this very historical and important hearing. I think it's one of the few times we can demonstrate some degree of bipartisanship around UAPs and UFOs. So I love it. Appreciate it. Thank you.
And ladies and gentlemen, not to make fun of this, because I hope I've made myself clear, I believe, however, the last voice you heard was the chairman of the Subcommittee on Counterterrorism, Counterintelligence, and Counterproliferation. His representative, Andre Carson. Ladies and gentlemen, don't think that it's just us white, I guess white too, white right-wing wackos, because Representative Andre Carson is a Democrat and a man of color. I'm just saying it had to be said, and I'm not asking Katie to weigh in. Listen, we are going to promote your next guest. Matt and I want to be there, especially if you're local. I would drive, though, to take part in this. Your overall, and you've kind of touched on it, Katie, but until we speak again, your overall take about this historic committee meeting today.
Well, my overall take is let's keep the conversation going. This is important. This is an important topic. People need to really be educated about it, like me. I mean, you can start knowing nothing and you cannot believe. You don't, I'm not trying to convince anybody to believe, but the more you research, the more you dig, the more questions you have, and the more it kind of turns like, okay, wait, there has to be something going on here. So I think this hearing was an important step in that direction to remove the stigma and to keep that conversation going. And like you said, it should be bipartisan. And I just do worry though about the controlling the narrative and the threat. And there's always the possibility. People say there could be, a false flag or a false alien invasion. So some people believe that's coming down the pipe too. So
yeah, I don't know if I believe that.
Yeah, I don't believe that either. But I'm just saying.
I hear you. And you know what? To wrap it up, I mean, just like you had indicated to start our conversation is, you know what? I don't care what the topic is. They could be talking about cat litter, but when they, the topic could be cat litter, but when somebody says, we better talk about that in closed door session. Hello, red flag. And don't you think that kind of perks people up? People like you and me.
Right. Well, because they have sensors. They've been watching these things for decades. They have all sorts of technology and radar and things underwater where they're tracking these things, and they can't talk about that publicly because it's giving away our secrets, and they can't give away our secrets. And I understand that. So it is a delicate balance.
Yeah. You know what? I think what is so great about you, seriously, is there may be people out there that absolutely do not believe like we do. And I think that's totally fine, to each his or her own. But you do not sound like some wackadoo whack job that now you're going to go back after you hang up with us. You're going to put your tinfoil hat, so to speak, on. No. And I think that really adds to your credibility. I can't wait for our next conversation, and we'll put you on hold. You've been too kind with your time, and thank you so much on a pretty historic day in D.C.
Thank you.
You bet. Katie Grabowski, Colorado's state director of MUFON, or the Mutual UFO Network, and its website is MUFON, COMUFON.org. And I love what she said too. She's not trying to convince you listening to believe, and neither am I. But I just find it hard to believe, trying to use some logic. We're it. And if we are it, God, can't we all do better? That was awesome, Matt. Great get. Such a timely topic. Yes, because of a congressional hearing. So awesome stuff. And thank you to Katie once again. If you are facing hair loss, here's a good question. Do aliens have hair?
Gee, your hair smells terrific.
Nanu. I don't think alien. Have you ever seen an alien with hair? Seriously, Hollywood or otherwise? Sasquatch certainly has a lot of hair.
I guess there's like Chewbacca.
Oh, that's true. That's true. But I don't know why I feel like Chewie's like my buddy. I wouldn't consider Chewbacca an alien.
I don't think he has a hair loss problem.
No, he doesn't. But if you do, Matthew, and Matt doesn't, but do yourself a favor, schedule, and it's so simple, schedule your free consultation with Advanced Hair Restoration. Find out if your bald spot, receding hairline, or thinning hair is in fact perhaps for you optional. Wait, what? Imagine the relief just knowing that a full head of hair is a real possibility for you. Advanced Hair's one-day treatment begins growing in your own natural hair the very next day, and it is backed by their industry-leading guarantee. It's incredible. They can address decades of hair loss maybe you've gone through all in just one day. Advanced Hair's exceptional standard of care also makes it the perfect time for you to pursue your needs. Do yourself a favor. Set up the free consultation right now. If you choose to move forward with them, you'll also receive $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. 720-459-HAIR. Their process is really simple, and making the call may be the hardest part. 720-459-HAIR. That's 720-459-HAIR. You can check out, get inspired, see those before and after pictures. Tell them Steffan sent you. The website is advancedhair.com. That is advancedhair.com. I've been wanting to play this, kind of like all program. This is a little Twilight Zone background music. My favorite. Somebody just sent in their favorite Twilight Zone episode ever. I've got to say, I watched a lot of them as a kid. The Talking Tina. Remember that, friends? The Talking Tina doll? Creepy as creepy gets. But my all-time favorite, Twilight Zone, and then they kind of redid it in Twilight Zone, the movie. My favorite was William Shatner on the plane, looking out to the left. What is on the wing? Awesome stuff. When we come back to, well, for some of you, back to reality, and that would be the president really pissed me off today and seemingly is doing that every day. And the latest on the Danielle Jurinsky situation. We'll have that next. Let's get to traffic and weather now on 710 KNUS.
Trouble on I-25, downtown area, just a little bit crowded, cleaning up that wreck south on I-25 down past Park Avenue, a little slow there. On way to crash south on I-25, it is down near Yale. You're pretty heavy from Broadway down to Yale, speeds there, single digits and teens. Trying to get out to Aurora, backed up with a crash there, eastbound I-70 at Havana. So back toward Quebec, that's a 5-minute delay. And now trouble on the Lakewood Drive with a problem westbound 6th Avenue, Knox Court, jammed to I-25. I'm Susan Phelan.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com.
Mark Levin sees your government in motion.
Congress is going to hold a hearing. The Democrats control the House and the Senate in 2 weeks. Not tomorrow, not Monday, in 2 weeks, to look at the formula shortage. The FDA, the Biden administration, and now the Democrats running Congress, they're putting the lives of these babies in danger. It's that simple.
Mark Levin, weeknights at 7 on News Talk 710 KNUS.
Colorado Flat Fee Realty. Colorado Flat Fee Realty.
In today's active real estate market, don't pay too much to sell your house. Colorado Flat Fee Realty is now offering a 2% option. If you were selling a $500,000 house, the agent typically charges you 6%. That's $30,000 for just a few days of work. Colorado Flat Fee Realty has a much better way. On that same $500,000 sale, you would save thousands with Colorado Flat Fee Realty. Now with a 2% option, why would you list your house with anyone else? Pay less, keep more. Colorado Flat Fee Realty. Call 303-300-9660 to find out more. 303-300-9660 or visit ColoradoFlatFeeRealty.com. Colorado Flat Fee Realty. Now with a 2% option. Pay less, keep more. ColoradoFlatFeeRealty.com.
Colorado Flat Fee Realty. Colorado Flat Fee Realty. Pay less, keep more, save thousands.
Dr. Julie McCallan here with Synergenics Denver. Our goal is better health for you. Aging doesn't have to be so hard. Getting older can be some of the best and most rewarding time of your entire life. At Synergenics, we use advanced testing and diagnostics to help uncover how to be a healthier you. The key to health isn't treating symptom after symptom. It's finding out why those symptoms are happening and what can be done to stop them for good. Your quality of life is directly linked to your specific risks. Our program is dedicated to keeping those risks as low as possible while increasing your energy, performance, and overall well-being. We start with comprehensive testing, followed by the prescription of precision medicines that address your specific health needs. We create a program designed specifically for you to help you focus, become stronger, and feel again in control of your life. Call Synergenics today. Our number is 720-387-3681 or visit our website at denver.synergenics.com. That's denver.synergenics.com.
Tell me why Relief Factor is so successful in lowering or eliminating pain. I'm often asked that question. Pete and Seth Talbot, the father and son founders of Relief Factor, tell me they believe our bodies were designed to heal. The doctors who formulated Relief Factor selected the 4 best ingredients, 100% drug-free ingredients that each help your body deal with inflammation. Order the 3-week quick start now. Discount it to only $19.95 to see if it will work for you too. Call 800-500-8384. ReliefFactor.com.
Hi, it's Steffan Tubbs. Make a plan and join us for the American Veteran Show. Every Sunday, we highlight incredible stories from around the country and here in Colorado. It is an honor to profile veterans, active duty, and military-related charities every single week. The American Veteran Show, part history lesson, always done with appreciation. Get a dose of patriotism. We hope you'll join us.
The American Veteran Show with Steffan Tubbs, Sundays at noon on News Talk 710 KNUS. News Talk 710 KNUS.
Listen live on Odyssey.
Turned out to be a green day on Wall Street. Closing numbers coming up in our next news update right here on News Talk 710.
Now, back to Steffan Tubbs, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Horrible, sickening, disgusting. What other adjectives can I use? Story about the false allegation of an Aurora City councilwoman, a friend of the program, a friend to me personally. She's terrific. A single mom targeted because she, on this program in January, called the police chief trash and continued what she had been on the campaign trail, which was a spitfire and telling you the truth. See, people don't like the truth. I think more people like the truth on the right than they do the left, unless, of course, it fits a narrative. And that does not put all of our friends under the one umbrella, all our friends on the left. No, that does not put you all under there. Just like, at least in my mind, I shouldn't say this, Matthew, but not all conservatives and Trump supporters say would have done the same thing on January 6th of last year. No, not all of us would have done that. Many of them would. But see, there are some, and sadly many, on the left. who would say, call in. I say some. And again, to our friends on the right, I'm telling you that no, they are not all like that. And they're not all like the people in the back-to-back nights of violence in the summer of hell in downtown Denver and Decay. That should not be, and I'm trying to speak to you truthfully here, which I always do. That should not be, well, look at what the Democrats did. Because not all Democrats did that. Now, I always speak the truth to you, like I just said. It's true. I speak the truth. How many conservatives were down there the back-to-back nights of violence in the summer? Exactly. Sorry that those people are in that party for the most part. Or all part. Right now, speaking of conservative, there's a word in front of it, Western, then conservative, and then the last word would be, it's WCS, by the way. Western Conservative Summit coming up next month at the Gaylord near the airport right now. Caller number 7-303-696-1971. 303-696-1971. You will win a 2-day pass. 1 2-day pass to the Western Conservative Summit. We'll be broadcasting out there live with our friends from Colorado Christian and, of course, the Centennial Institute, Jeff Hunt, etc. The guests this year are incredible. So caller number 7 right now, 303-696-1971. You get a pass for 2 days to the Western Conservative Summit. I want to give you what I know. Speaking of Danielle Jurinsky, I want to give you what I know today from my sources. And if you are just maybe clicking on since we last spoke about this, and again, thank you to our great guest, Katie Grabowski with the Colorado Mutual UFO Network. If you hadn't heard me say this, I do want to correct. I have no problem in admitting I'm wrong, and I always want to address any errors or what have you. So I'm going to do that now, and I don't want to make a mountain out of a molehill. But I did make the mention yesterday that because of, you'll have to work with me, the only thing I can think of is the incestuous relationship between, say, a police department and a district attorney's office, the Aurora situation with Arapahoe County, the alleged criminal in this, Robin Nicetta, working for the county. I had it on very good authority yesterday. I thought that the case was officially moved out of the 18th Judicial, and it was sent to the despicable one, Kragatha Hagatha Beth McCann, the Denver District Attorney. That is actually incorrect. I talked with another source today who said, no, it's going to remain. I think the quote directly was, it will remain in the 18th. But because of that relationship, way too many people know way too many people. Similarly, they will more than likely, they will appoint, it's just a matter of time, a special prosecutor to this case. Now, that special prosecutor may come from Beth McCann's merry band of mostly idiots, but we will see. The other is just a little bit of information about how Robin Nicetta turned herself in. She actually turned herself in yesterday during our program to the Glendale Police Department. And if you want to know what an alleged bad person looks like, just go to our Twitter. I don't know if I put it on Facebook, but definitely Twitter. Robin Nicetta's mugshot. Yesterday, just part from our interview with Danielle Jurinsky.
Now I'm gearing up, for war, like I said. And, what I just want to say is, we never know why things happen to us, right? And we know that God has a plan. And if that plan is for me to be the catalyst, the voice for any other parent, and I don't care if it's only one, but my guess is it's not. Mm-hmm. For anybody who has had to go through this, for anybody who has been on the other side of DHS and, didn't have a way to stand up and didn't have a way, to speak out, I will be your voice, and you can reach out. I want to make sure that nobody ever goes through this again. And
amen. Danielle Jurinsky there. I did text her this morning. How you doing? And I will say kudos to at least one of the people that I called out on this program yesterday. I personally, I'm not trying to double down, spike the football, but to me, it is my personal opinion, inexcusable that the mayor of Aurora, Mike Kaufman, did not almost immediately reach out to Danielle Jurinsky, a colleague on the Aurora City Council. As of 8:30 this morning, Aurora Mayor Kaufman had not reached out to Danielle Jurinsky. Neither had this idiot.
So I do believe in radical candor.
Now, I don't think, at least I think I would have had word if Comrade Juan Marcano has reached out. Again, this has nothing to do with politics, despite what Nicetta's idiot attorney said yesterday. We'll have her day in court. We'll leave politics to the politicians. I don't know what man or woman, to be quite honest with you, wrote that bullshit, but I can tell you with, again, love in my heart, go screw yourself with that kind of statement. This had nothing to do with politics. This was about an effort by someone, allegedly the domestic partner of the former Aurora police chief, hoping to get a child removed from a parent that is loving, nurturing, caring. It's disgusting. So as of, and by the way, comrade, with radical candor, if you have reached out to Danielle Jurinsky after 8:30 this morning and you have, well, my bad. But I do understand that the mayor, Mike Kaufman, my term, not anybody else's, finally reached out to Jurinsky and apparently was very supportive. Mike Kaufman did. He also issued a statement on, I believe, his Facebook page. It reads in part, these unlawful sexual contact with her own child, that was later found to be untrue and suspicious. Investigators were able to trace the call back to Robin Nicetta's phone. Should Nicetta's efforts have been successful, Jurinsky's 2-year-old son would have been taken away from her and placed in foster care. It's hard to imagine anything more insidious than separating a mother from her child for the sake of political retaliation. That statement from Aurora Mayor Kaufman. Matt reached out today to the mayor's office trying to get the mayor of Aurora on. Second or third straight, no, he's not coming on your show. But they sent us that statement. Sorry, Mayor, don't follow you and your postings on Facebook. I have made fun of your Twitter posts of, tonight I will eat Chinese takeout. Because that seemed like all Mike Kaufman did during the pandemic. Tonight, it's Korean barbecue. Tomorrow, In-N-Out. Anyway, I wonder why Mike Kaufman is no longer a friend of the program. His choosing, not mine. Welcome to you. We've got to take a news break. And when we come back, there's just too much show. We'll give you the latest on Buffalo and the reason why the president really pissed me off today. And you should care in Colorado. Yes, I think you should care. Congratulations last hour going to the Western Conservative Summit on us, Bob in Lone Tree. And congratulations, our recent winner just a few moments ago, Dan in Aurora. So thank you for listening and hope you guys enjoy the Western Conservative Summit next month. We'll be broadcasting live and should be a great time. Let me tell you about our friends at the Colorado Farm Bureau. I've been begging you. No, that's not true. I've been telling you, you should become a member of the Colorado Farm Bureau, even if, like me, you have no direct ties. You have maybe friends or people you know, but no direct family ties to ranching or farming in Colorado. You've seen it. The prices at the grocery store up so much. Between the ongoing supply chain problems, the war in Ukraine, of course, the high cost of fuel, inflation is hitting us all. And it's no different for Colorado's farmers and ranchers. My friends in Colorado Ag, they're terrific. And they're doing everything that they can to continue to grow the food that we all need in an efficient and sustainable way. It's hard right now, let's face it. Fertilizer is expensive, diesel expensive. Colorado's in another drought. Farm budgets are tight. And the folks at the Colorado Farm Bureau are doing everything they can to make sure farmers and ranchers in Colorado are successful. Join me. They've been around for more than 100 years, looking out for family farms and ranches, and also doing the political stuff at the Capitol as well as in D.C. Look, they're going to help you, whether you know it or not. Just think about where your food came from. Chances are some of it that you ate even today maybe had a connection with Colorado. Become a Farm Bureau member like me. Sign up at coloradofarmbureau.com. That's coloradofarmbureau.com.
News Talk 710. Update.
Mostly cloudy, breezy, 78 in Denver, going down to a low of 50. 710 5-day forecast. Coming up, our top story, the polls are closed in the Kentucky primary. It's one of 5 states holding primary battles tonight. In Pennsylvania, celebrity talk show host Dr. Oz is holding a slight lead over Kathy Barnett in the latest poll from Emerson College. David McCormick not far behind. Internet radicalization is a hot topic following the mass shooting in Buffalo, New York over the weekend. According to Colorado State University political science professor Dominic Stacula, he says the information age isn't helping the overall situation.
It makes it easier to go down rabbit holes and ultimately radicalize and seek out information that you wouldn't have found very easily, 20, 30 years ago.
Stacula adds social media is a double-edged sword. That's because while it makes it easier for all of us to connect to like-minded people, that isn't the best case scenario for those going down the wrong rabbit hole. This update brought to you by Done Right. If you're going to do it right or don't bother. Call Done Right for kitchens, baths, counters, and floors, and even replacement windows and doors. 800-362-8370 or drhi.com. According to a tweet from AT&T Sportsnet, their reporter, Kelsey Wingard, was hit by a foul ball during Monday night's Rockies game against the Giants. She received some medical attention but is doing well. Rockies play again tonight against the Giants. NHL playoffs continue. Avs and Blues, game 1 tonight at Ball Arena. Dow finished up today, 431 points. Wake up with George Brockler, weekday mornings from 6 to 10, only on News Talk 710 KNUS, the official station of the 2022 Western Conservative Summit. I'm Roger Criddlebaugh.
Heavy traffic along I-25 heading out of downtown. Southbound I-25 pretty slow from Santa Fe on down to Yale. There's a crash at Yale. Stop and go traffic through there. Part of a wreck northbound I-25 near 58th Avenue. A little slow for you trying to get out of downtown. And big backups on westbound 6th Avenue. Crash at Knox Court. That's out past Federal. Right side of the highway affected. Very slow. Jam back to I-25. Slow back toward Calumet. And we got a crash on eastbound 70 near Havana. Jams to Quebec. I'm Susan Phelan.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. Spring into spring hiring with Indeed. Their powerful hiring platform makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire candidates all in one place. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
For late afternoon and early evening, the Denver Metro will continue to see a few hit-and-miss showers and storms, otherwise partly cloudy into the overnight. Lows tonight will be low 50s. Lower 80s Wednesday with general sunshine, a stray storm in the afternoon. Upper 80s Thursday with increasing winds, showers, much colder, struggling to get out of the upper 40s Friday. Weather brought to you by Colorado Flat Fee Realty. Pay less, keep more, coloradoflatfeerealty.com. Meteorologist Don Watzel, 710 KNUS.
Genetics, stress, hormones, aging, all natural factors that can lead to hair loss. So until we find a way to stop aging, there is fortunately a way to reverse balding and thinning hair using groundbreaking technology. Advanced Hair Restoration's simple one-day treatment can regrow your own natural hair in those places maybe it's disappeared for years. Advanced Hair works for men and women across all ages, and your new hair is backed by the Advanced Hair Guarantee. The top-rated physicians at Advanced Hair, they've improved tens of thousands of lives by reversing the clock on hair loss. Set up your free consultation today. Call them 720-459-HAIR. If it's right for you, you'll also get 250 free hair grafts plus $250 off. We might not be able to prevent all causes of hair loss, but you can regrow your own natural hair with Advanced Hair. 720-459-HAIR or become inspired with those before and after pictures at advancedhair.com.
CBS Eye on Veterans, presented by University of Maryland Global Campus. Air Force veteran Keith McGee may have suffered a traumatic brain injury, but that never stopped him from pursuing his dream. He's now the first disabled veteran in NASCAR history to race in a National Series event.
Most drivers start racing when they're 5, 6 years old. And, a lot of these people I race with are, I'm old enough to be their father. They're, 18, 19 years old. And I like to think I'm pretty humble. I'm just a regular guy with an extraordinary opportunity to go out and live his dream and use this platform to share my message and, hopefully affect some people out there that are living with migraines and, hopefully change their lives.
Your next success begins with University of Maryland Global Campus. Choose from 90-plus programs and specializations that offer 100% online and hybrid courses, plus no application fee when you apply by May 31st. Learn more at umgc.edu.
Hi, I'm Gabe Walker from Alpine Planning Group. Wealth accumulation is never simple, but it's the distribution phase where we believe clients absolutely need a partner to navigate market cycles, assist with changes, and ensure retirement portfolios will last. At Alpine Planning Group, we specialize in wealth management. We're local, we're personal, and we customize every plan. If you'd like to meet or learn more, give us a call at 303-843-0918. Have a plan, have a partner, call Alpine Planning Group today.
News Talk 710, KNUS.
Listen live on Odyssey.
Text the studio directly on the 710 KNUS. Now, back to Steffan Tubbs. News Talk 710, KNUS.
Well, 35 years since high school graduation. The reason why I thought we'd go this route is just last night, I got a reminder you haven't paid your money yet, and you say you're coming to our soiree in San Diego. A proud graduate of, I did graduate. I did. I graduated from high school. Didn't even have to take any summer courses. Although that Spanish thing, God, I wish I'd paid more attention to that. Dang it. Anyhow, Matt, there's just too much damn show, so we'll get right into it. The president today was in Buffalo, New York for the latest, sadly, mass killing in the country.
We've now seen too many times the deadly and destructive violence this ideology unleashes. We heard the chants, "You will not replace us," in Charlottesville, Virginia. I wasn't going to run, as the senator knows, again for president.
Here we go.
When I saw those people coming out of the woods of the fields in Virginia, in Charlottesville, carrying torches, shouting, "You will not replace us," accompanied by white supremacists and carrying Nazi banners, that's when I said no.
Now, wait a minute. I'm not, by the way, what I'm about to say in the moments we have left, if I don't finish, we'll pick it up on the other side. What I'm about to say has nothing to do with the horrific murders of 10 innocent people. For God's sake, they were at the grocery store. And we've seen that in Colorado's most recent mass shooting. So that is a tragedy. No jokes. No, we don't joke about death or religion on this program. But as far as what the president says, that's fair game. Wait a minute. Coming out of the woods? Were they like wood people? We are coming out now with our torches. Rick, you get the Nazi flag. Let's leave the woods for a while. Give me a break. This was, to me, yet another example of a sick political stunt 6 months ahead of the midterms. Here's why, and I know I don't have enough time before the computer will cut me off, so I'll try to maybe give you a little bit, and then we'll pick it up on the other side after the newscast. This is not sour grapes. This is not, he went to Buffalo and he didn't come to Boulder. Joe Biden on his watch has now had, at my count, mass casualties, mass death. This is the second, at least off the top of my head. And the first one would be in Boulder, Colorado, at the King Soopers on Table Mesa. We still don't know anything, relatively speaking, besides, oh yeah, he's too whacked out. We're going to put him in a state mental hospital or feds or wherever. I don't care where this murderer is. Why don't we know more about that? Why don't we know more about him? You know everything down to if he cut his toenails last Tuesday, this 18-year-old white kid that went in to kill blacks. Sickening, disgusting, racist. However, is it anything to do with perhaps politics and 6 months to the midterms? And this is one of the agenda items. Their hate, their racism. We've got to target that. You know what, Mr. President? 10 people died in Boulder as well, including an on-duty police officer. You came for the fires. 6 o'clock hour is next. Stay right there.
The Western Conservative Summit is one of the largest annual gatherings of conservatives in the Western United States. I'm Jeff Hunt. Join us June 3rd and 4th at the Gaylord Rockies Resort in Denver, Colorado.
This year's summit features former Trump press secretaries Kayleigh McEnany, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, Congresswoman Lauren Boebert, and just added Betsy DeVos, Matt Walsh, and Tulsi Gabbard. Get tickets today at 710knus.com.
We'll see you at the summit.
Calling all gun collectors. The 56th annual Colorado Gun Collectors Gun Show is this weekend at the Colorado Springs Event Center. This is a gun collector's paradise with historic firearms exhibitors from every state in the union and several foreign countries. The Colorado Gun Collectors Gun Show has the largest selection of antique and modern collectible arms in the world. Classic firearm and gun show information at cgca.com. Buy your tickets at the door and don't miss this vintage gun collector show. Classic firearm and gun show information at cgca.com.
Hi, it's Peter Boyles for The Butchery in Arvada. The Butchery, the return of the classic Colorado steakhouse that made Denver famous. There's a twist, serving the finest steaks, chops, and the freshest seafood. The Butchery only serves Angus beef, the finest and best USDA prime beef on the market, or try the bourbon barrel salmon or the juicy Colorado bison ribeye and add the lobster mac and cheese for any entree. The Butchery, my kind of steakhouse. Make your reservations now by going to thebutcheryarvada.com.
Welcome to my casa,
Oh
Catherine.
my, is that a Picasso?
No, don't touch
it's
it.
covering a hole in your wall.
Yeah, I had leaks, but the plumber who repiped doesn't do drywall.
It doesn't?
Mm-mm.
Repipe specialists would have repiped and offered to fix the holes in your walls.
Got leaks? Repipe specialists will repipe your house in 1 or 2 days and offer to fix the drywall. Call 303-228-2540 for a free in-home estimate and pay nothing down and no payments or interest for a year. That's 303-228-2540 or visit repipe.com.
Tell me why Relief Factor is so successful in lowering or eliminating pain. I'm often asked that question. Pete and Seth Talbot, the father and son founders of Relief Factor, tell me they believe our bodies were designed to heal. The doctors who formulated Relief Factor selected the 4 best ingredients, 100% drug-free ingredients that each help your body deal with inflammation. Order the 3-week quick start now. Discount it to only $19.95 to see if it will work for you too. Call 800-500-8384. ReliefFactor.com.
It's easy and profitable to be kind to others when you enter the Kindness Challenge. Each day for 30 days, we'll post a new act of kindness that you can do for others. On June 1st, you could win $5,000, and a deserving organization will also receive $5,000 in your name. You can make a difference in others' lives when you enter the Kindness Challenge.
The Kindness Challenge is brought to you in part by Littleton Jewelry, your home for custom jewelry, diamonds, and repairs.
KNUS Denver, a Salem Media Group station. News Talk 710, the official station of the 2022 Western Conservative Summit. Get tickets online at 710knus.com.
Couple of wrecks on southbound I-25. There's a minor crash southbound at Downing. Second wreck down near Yale. Southbound I-25 running slow from the Washington Bridge down to Yale. Northbound I-25 on the brakes from University up into downtown. Just under 20 minutes for you to make that drive. Now we get a tough one westbound 6th Avenue. Crashed near Knox Court. That's out past Federal. That's in the right lane. Jammed up back to I-25. And a wreck eastbound 70 at Havana just cleared. Crowded toward Quebec. I'm Susan Thielen.
This report is sponsored by Discover. When it comes to your credit card, Discover believes in having real people available 24/7 to help answer your questions. Discover. exceptionally common sense.
Denver's local talk leader. News Talk 710 KNUS. The news now.
It's 6 o'clock, mostly cloudy, breezy, 78 degrees in Denver. We're going down to a low of 50. Chance of rain, 7:10 5-day forecast coming up. Top story, polls are closed in the Kentucky primary. It's one of 5 states holding primary battles tonight. In Pennsylvania, celebrity talk show host Dr. Oz holding still a slight lead over Kathy Barnett. Latest poll from the Emerson College. Also, David McCormick is not far behind. El Paso County commissioners are hoping Colorado Governor Jared Polis will veto a collective bargaining bill. Commissioner Kerry Geithner says letting county employees unionize will hurt everyone from taxpayers, workers, and the county itself. She also says it will cost over $6 million to do collective bargaining, which is money they don't have. Board Chair Stan Vanderwerf says bill sponsors should have asked for feedback before pushing it through. The bill was sent to Polis's desk last week. This update brought to you by Staples Stores. Staples Stores are a new world of possible with innovative tools for small business and remote workers and learners. Explore more at your local Staples store or staplesconnect.com. Round 2 for the Avs. They open up their best of 7 second round series against the St. Louis Blues at Ball tonight. Wake up with George Brockler weekday mornings from 6 to 10 only on News Talk 710 KNUS, the official station of the 2022 Western Conservative Summit. I'm Roger Krittlebaugh.
For late afternoon and early evening, the Denver Metro will continue to see a few hit-and-miss showers and storms, otherwise partly cloudy into the overnight. Lows tonight will be low 50s. Lower 80s Wednesday with general sunshine, a stray storm in the afternoon. Upper 80s Thursday with increasing winds, showers, much colder, struggling to get out of the upper 40s Friday. Weather brought to you by Colorado Flat Fee Realty. Pay less, keep more, ColoradoFlatFeeRealty.com. Meteorologist Don Watzel, 710 KNUS.
A longtime newsman with an opinion, a proud dad, an American, supporter of our veterans and active duty military. Common sense discussion begins now. This is the Steffan Tubbs Show on News Talk 710 KNUS.
Together, the Lord has blessed us with another day. I hope you made the most of it. I did start the program saying I'd have more on a lunch, or maybe it's more appropriate, a luncheon. What is the difference between a luncheon and a lunch? That'd be actually, thank you for maybe jumping on Mr. Google. Whatever you do, Matt, though, while you're looking, don't use Bing. Some of you will get that. Some of you, if you listen very closely to this program. Many ways to get in touch with us. I was just looking, we, now that we're in this kind of, we're kind of in a courting phase with Elon Musk and Twitter. I did notice that our Twitter followers have increased, but not to the liking that Matthew and I would like to see. Can we maybe hit 3.1 million? Can we hit 3.1 thousand? Maybe sometime this week. I think we're less than like 90 away. But we tweet out some good stuff. Like if you want to see the mugshot of the former police chief in Aurora's girlfriend, Robin Nicetta, accused of doing all kinds of bad things like, false reporting, etc. We'll get more into that in a moment. And I want to also, well, not in a moment, but in a few minutes. Lunch is casual. A luncheon is formal. That makes total sense. Today was a lunch. I did wear a coat, but I wore jeans. But that's Colorado casual. Anyway, I did mention about the lunch that I attended. Great folks, men and women out there in Lakewood. It was at the beautiful Raccoon Creek. That'd be Raccoon Creek near Clement Park, over by Columbine High School. And it was the first MTC. And before this show was out, I will fulfill the promise that I did make. I meant to do it in the 3:00 hour, but a reading, and it's basically, if you or anyone you know, you can still hear me because you were in field artillery in our great military. You'll appreciate what I will play for you from our luncheon. And to Ralph Spencer and his wife and the great folks I met out there today, it is my pleasure. I'm batting like 970 in my life when it comes to when I'm asked to come and speak to a veterans group or an audience that is primarily veterans and it's military related. I barely say no. The only times I think I've said no is literally conflict schedules and all of that. But thank you. It was a wonderful afternoon, and I hope I didn't speak too long, because I spoke off the top of my head for I did tell them, I said, look, I speak for, in essence, not literally, but I'm on for 20 hours a week. Y'all want to go till 4:30? Well, I can't, because I got to get across town to get back to work. But it was terrific, and shared some stories about being an embed reporter in Iraq, and some terrific kind of stories that relate to some of the veterans. Told the story of 25 Steps and how Bob and Butch met, and our documentary film, which you can still catch at the website. But if you can help us out, our egos are fragile, believe it or not, and we are judged only our job performance by the number of Twitter followers we have. That is a complete and utter lie. No one is bonused here. At least I don't think Matt is. I'm not, for every like on Facebook or follower on Twitter. But you can follow us on social media if you're on social media, and that would be at Tubbs Show, TUBBS Show, Facebook and Twitter. And we try to promote the show for free, because as long as we can do that, I'll use social media. If they ever started charging, yeah, we're out. So thank you, and we'll see if we can get to 3,100 by the end of the week at Tubbs Show, TUBBS Show. Our website, 710knus.com/Steffan. Live streaming audio. Welcome to our potential global audience, whether you're listening, near the shores of Lake McConaughey, or you're in Alaska, like my friend Jeff. Maybe you're in Spain, overseas. We had Randy, not that Randy, another Randy last week sent us an email. I'm listening to you from Spain. So we always appreciate that. Our wall of love via the free to download 710KNUS app. You can text the studio, and our number 303-696-1971. Don't forget our commercial break free podcast. Matt puts up every hour of every show we do. And of course, yesterday, our show dominated with the talk of one of the most despicable crimes. Here's the fact. What was done was a crime, because it was false reporting. I'm not saying I don't know who did it. I sure as hell think I know who did it, based on the 9-page single-spaced affidavit I read and then shared with you on the air yesterday. But for 15 days, our friend of the program, Aurora Councilwoman Danielle Jurinsky, did not know if her 2-year-old little boy was going to be taken from her because of these false allegations. And again, there was a crime committed. Who committed the crime? Well, that remains to be seen, doesn't it? But you can see the woman they feel did it, and that would be Robin Nicetta, who turned herself into Glendale police. And thank you. There was a text that came in, and I heard from one of my sources today who had said one of the reasons why when you're I did not know this. One of the reasons why when you're wanted and you need to turn yourself into Glendale police. I don't know. I hope this is not a pro tip from the program to you. I hope you never have to do this. But apparently, turn yourself into Glendale police, I've been told, because the bonding out process is about as quick as any in the greater Denver and Decatur area. I did not know that. By the way, quick sidebar, rewind from a couple of minutes ago. There's also another way you can watch and or listen, both, and that would be via YouTube. 710KNUS YouTube channel. We are now every day, every show, I haven't picked my nose once, which is a plus. Not that I make a habit of that, but you're on live simulcast. But welcome and thank you to those of you who watch us on YouTube. You can subscribe there, 710 KNUS YouTube channel, and you can get alerts when we go on and do other things there. I want to, because we didn't have a lot of time. If you are just clicking on, the president of the United States today was in Buffalo. You probably know the reason why. The site of the weekend mass killing, 10 dead, and others shattered emotionally for life, no matter if they get counseling or not. A grocery store shooting, 10 dead, including a retired police officer who was doing a shift as a security guard. It was horrific. Again. And I say this over and over, and it is true. The countdown is on now to the nation's next mass shooting. What do our friends on the left, specifically if you're a senator and you're Democrat, you're a member of Congress and you're a Democrat? Well, since Saturday, you're talking again. I mean, it is as if they have a template of what they put out after a shooting, mass shooting. What words do you think are included? If it were a template, which it very well, for some of these people, it very well may be. It's on a file on a computer somewhere. Yep, pull it up. Take copy the text. Be sure to change the date and maybe the number of victims. Well, what words are included, do you think? Most certainly the words gun control are included. Most certainly thoughts and prayers, those words are included. You could say probably, I don't know, at least 50% of them. The word heartbreaking. But what I'm about to say, and if you are just clicking on, there'll be the first time. If you were with us last segment of the 5 o'clock hour, give me some grace and forgiveness. I don't want to repeat, but I'm going to. The president of the United States well knows, no matter what you feel and what I feel, is his mental capacity. I'm being serious. If he is mostly all there, kind of there, not there at all, it doesn't matter. Joe Biden knows that in 6 months, there is a vital election. We know it as the midterms. What have you heard from this administration consistently? And sadly, there are white supremacists out there. We live in a racially divided country. Some of you, and I know many of you disagree with me. My mantra and my take on this issue is there is racism that exists 3, 2, 1 now in this country. There are racists in this country. There are racists probably within a mile radius of where you are right now. Now, do those racists within a mile of you, I feel, right now, do they dominate the country? Are there more racists than people that are, God, at I guess, worst, maybe best, tolerant of others? The vast majority of people in this country, people of color, whiteys like me, we're not racist, but there are racists among us. And to me, just my opinion, racism is alive and well in the United States of America in 2022. But if you're kind of following what I'm trying to cook here for you, what does this do? What does a shooting do like we saw in Buffalo? And I may need to make this disclaimer again. I just want to be sure. What I'm about to tell you is not taking away those innocent lives. 10 innocent people at a freaking grocery store. And we've seen that in our own backyard. This is not to discredit any of that. That's one category, and I can't imagine being at a store only one time in my life. I probably don't have time to do this, but what the hell? Only one time in my life. I lived in Fresno, California. I've shared stories about the armpit of California. I was banished to Fresno for 18 months or so. But man, I learned a hell of a lot as a newsman, green as I may have been right out of college. There's only one time when I've come into contact personally, not covering an event, obviously, but personally just, holy crap, something really bad happened here. And in this particular case, I don't think I've ever shared this in my life. Not that it's going to change yours. But I remember I was newly married and we were living in Fresno, and my wife and I, there was some reason why I needed to, I think literally we were out of milk. And I went in, she just stayed in the car. I'm like, I'll be right back. So I went in to go get a gallon of milk. And I guess now looking back, or when I looked back, I noticed that there's no one. It's weird. There's no one like pushing a cart outside the grocery store. There's no one. I walk in. My spidey senses were up. This is weird. Where is everybody? There's not a cashier. There's not a customer. There's literally no one. It's like they closed the store, left the lights and the automatic doors open, but there's nobody around. And it started to click that something's up here. Well, would you believe that literally probably by less than 60 seconds, I had missed gunmen who came into that Fresno grocery store for a robbery? And literally, as I am in the store, there are people, and it's kind of like, well, Joe Biden says they were coming out of the woods. It was like walking into almost first nobody and then zombie land. People started to emerge. There were people in the grocery store's freezer. They had locked themselves in. Smart. Jeez, I'll go there. But people were still in the freezer as I walked in. And don't think I didn't thank God. I mean, had we made one more green light, so to speak, would I even be here? Because I mean, within a matter of a minute, and I would learn the time frame from people that I'm like, what happened here? And I was a news guy. Like, what happened here? Holy cow. Who knows? What if I'm walking in and here comes gunmen masked? They don't care. Trust me, there's no sanctity of life today. There wasn't in this case in 1993. Maybe it's worse today, though. Anyway, I could get caught in the weeds, but I have never come into contact with any kind of violent act like that, like a mass shooting or a robbery. I've never been in a bank when it was robbed. Never felt that adrenaline rush that I never want to feel that. But back to Buffalo. The president knows there's a midterm election coming up. It is vital to the way Congress takes shape in January of next year. You know this and I know this. Well, isn't this convenient? Never let a crisis go to waste is the cliche. And to me, we saw that firsthand today.
Jill and I bring you this message from deep in our nation's soul. In America, evil will not win, I promise you. Hate will not prevail, and white supremacy will not have the last word. For the evil did come to Buffalo. It's come to all too many places. Manifesting gunmen who massacred innocent people in the name of hateful and perverse ideology.
All right, Matt, let's go ahead and fade there. Friends, fear, racism, the key words. This was not by accident that after this tragedy, again, in its own category, horrible. I know that presidents, Republican and Democrat, have done this for generations. going to a hurricane, going to the aftermath of a tornado. We saw Joe Biden here, late last year, early this year, after the December 30th horrible fires in Boulder County. I understand that presidents do this. They are at one time commander-in-chief. They also sometimes are they should be the unifier-in-chief. We've had a few problems with that over the years. And they also can be, as cliche and maybe sappy as it sounds, the healer-in-chief. I understand that. And both parties have done that with their presidents. But with this so fits, sickeningly, the narrative of the left, one of the many. How we talk about the narrative. How many chapters is that narrative book the left seemingly operates from so well? I'd say it's maybe hundreds of chapters. But I bring this up again, the deaths of the innocent in one category, the political nature of what happened today in another category. But there's a third category before we go to traffic and news. We've got some more things up our sleeves as well for the final 30 minutes of the program. But I bring this up because there is the third category that is known to me as what happened at the King Soopers on Table Mesa in Boulder a little more than a year ago. Mr. President, 10 innocent people died in Buffalo, New York over the weekend. Horrible story. You can talk about, yes, that there was a race motivation in this. I'm going to kill all blacks. You know everything there is to know if you choose to read or search about this 18-year-old murderer, mass murderer. This 18-year-old, not good. Bad news. I wish he would be sentenced to death and he would fry, so to speak. But there were also 10 people killed in Boulder at another supermarket. The narrative has been since Saturday, especially on CNN. Yes, sadly, I was watching their breaking news coverage until literally I had to turn it off because, of course, it gets political. They will tell you about the hero security guard, a former police officer, again, in the category of horrific. A guy that spends his life dedicated to public service as a police officer, survives his career as an officer in Buffalo, New York, or that area, but is killed by a gunman just hell-bent on killing blacks. That was the narrative. That was discussed today by the president. Well, I would say, once again, Mr. President, 10 people died in Boulder last year while you were president. In fact, the first that I'm aware of mass homicide in the U.S. during the Joe Biden presidency. The president didn't come to Boulder. And to our friends on the left, pump the brakes, relax. Yes, the president came for the fires. But the president didn't come to Boulder to meet with his friends, Governor Polis, Representative Neguse, Representative Perlmutter, Representative DeGette, Senators Hickenlooper and Bennett. No, the president didn't come to Boulder. And among the 10 dead, and this makes him no more special, no less special, but I back the blue. You men and women, you should know that by now if you listen to this program. And there was an on-duty police officer with Boulder and the Boulder Police Department, and that officer, I believe Officer Talley, was killed in the line of duty. And the president didn't show up. This, friends, is not, and I especially say this to our friends on the left who like to listen. Some of you spy, not all of you. Some of you work for internet blogs that nobody reads. This is not a woe is Boulder. I'm so pissed. He's good enough to go to Boulder or Buffalo, but he won't go to Boulder. That's not it at all. you ask yourself this question. How much do you know about the Boulder mass murderer? Very little. Why is that? Why do we know when it fits, to me, a narrative? Why do we know so much already? Almost instantaneously. I'm not going to waste your time. You would not believe what they call a backgrounder from our partners at CBS News. It is about as lengthy an email with information as I've ever seen from CBS News. All the details of where this guy was going to go next after Buffalo. Hell, it may have gone down to, I say as a smartass, his shoe size. In a matter of, in some cases, hours, and certainly less than a few days. We don't know a thing besides the fact that he's incompetent to stand trial about what's his name. I know his name. I know where he is. But why? Ask yourself why. Is it perhaps, just perhaps, because it didn't fit the narrative as conveniently as Buffalo, New York? I'm telling you, I'm not crazy. I don't, and I say this with respect, I don't need your validation, but I'm not crazy. There is something to this, and it should piss you off. Because now this administration has proven to me that you pick and choose your national tragedies. And that is wrong. Absolutely wrong. 303-696-1971. We will take a timeout. When we come back, I want to get into this is good. Before we wrap up the show, so in the final 30 minutes of the program, Peter Doocy, Fox News. When you make Peppermint Patty look good, man, oh Manischewitz, you are going to probably suck as the White House press secretary. And it doesn't matter if you're an LBTGQIA plus exclamation point. Doesn't matter if you're a woman of color. If you suck, you suck. And if you have not heard this, it's basically how does raising corporate taxes help with inflation across the country for the average American? You may or may not have either heard this, or you may or may not believe. It's like, it's 2022, anything's possible. But when you make Peppermint Patty look good, something's up. So we'll have that. And also just maybe a little bit more, for the first time in more than 50 years, a congressional hearing. What a guest we had. Our friend of the program, Katie Gradowski. I think I said that right. From Colorado, MUFON. Grabowski. My bad. At least I knew that didn't sound quite right. Right now, if your air conditioner is just about ready to fire up, maybe you've already turned it on, it can really kind of suck you dry. If you've got an older unit, uses tons of energy. Don't get ripped off. Get your AC unit checked out by our trusted friends and team at 888 Heating and Air. They always have for you an $88 performance check. They'll ensure your system is in excellent working order and will optimize the energy use. I mean, seriously, you know this because you're paying those energy bills every month. Right now, 888 has a limited time offer, $2,088 off new AC or furnace installations, and you could be saving money almost instantaneously. 888 only installs American Standard units, the best in the industry at the best price. They'll go the distance for you. They're terrific. Family owned and operated, serving families like yours and mine around the Denver metro area, up and down the Front Range for more than 2 decades. You'll get a text ahead of time confirming your appointment, even a picture of the technician coming to your home. Tell them Steffan sent you. It's 888heating.com.
Minor crash on the highway. This is southbound I-25 near Downing. Little crowded there from the Washington Bridge to Downing. Northbound I-25, you're bunched up from University on into downtown. Take you about 12 minutes to make that drive. Now there's a wreck jamming westbound 6th Avenue out past Federal. Right shoulder blocked off, westbound 6th Avenue real slow from I-25, trying to get out past that crash. Now the problem on eastbound I-70 near Havana, that's been cleared. A little crowded through there, but that's improving. Ounces and feeling.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. Spring into spring hiring with Indeed. Their powerful hiring platform makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire candidates all in one place. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Dr. Sebastian Gorka is tired of our representation.
I couldn't care less what Congress does because they have demonstrated themselves to be unfit as a collective body. Not individual people, not the half a dozen people who come on my show. As a collective entity representing the American people, they are unfit to serve.
America First with Dr. Sebastian Gorka. Afternoons at 1 on News Talk 710 KNUS.
Hi, it's George Brockler with an amazing story of a local family impacted by my friend Gay Ribble, the Ribble Group, Keller Williams Realty DTC, and her Sell and Stay program. Selling in today's market is smart, but creates a problem of where to go. Gay Ribble has solved that problem with her Sell and Stay program. You can sell now and be guaranteed to stay in your home until it's time to move. The Thomas family needed a larger home, but they couldn't find one that they liked on the market. They saw how much money they could get for their home, but it didn't matter if they didn't have anywhere to go. So Gay sold their home for $52,000 over the asking price, and they stayed in their current home for 6 months until they found their dream home. To learn more about the Sell and Stay guarantee, call the Ribble Group at 833-301-SOLD. That's 833-301-SOLD. Or visit Gay, spelled Gaye, hasthebuyers.com. That's gayhasthebuyers.com.
This is Ed Morrissey of hotair.com for Town Hall. 2 weeks after a leaked Supreme Court draft opinion in a key abortion case, polls show that Americans remain focused on other issues and on Joe Biden's failure to address them. A new NBC News poll shows Biden's job approval rating slipping to its lowest level yet, and also that a majority of voters disapprove of Biden on a personal basis. What about Roe? Little has changed despite the media hysteria over Justice Samuel Alito's draft. Only 37% of voters agree with the bill pushed by Biden and Chuck Schumer that would prevent any restrictions on abortion to the moment of birth. Only 10% of respondents in the survey, taken just days after the leak, see abortion as their top priority in the midterms. 40% chose inflation and the economy, and Biden only gets a 23% approval rating on the cost of living. Abortion won't save Democrats, not even with media assistance, and neither will President Biden.
The Pepperdine Graduate School of Public Policy for those considering careers in politics and policy.
Was your business hurt in the years of the pandemic? Have you had a decline in revenue since 2019? Was your business partly or fully shut down by the government? If you answered yes to any of these questions and have 10 employees or more, you may be eligible to receive up to $26,000 per employee. How? By taking advantage of the Employee Retention Tax Credit, a fully funded tax credit created to help businesses during these difficult times. The experts at Benchmark Human Capital are ready to help you get the money you are owed. The pre-qualification is absolutely free. Even if you got PPP money, this is more money that may be owed to you. Repayment is not necessary. The money is all yours. The IRS writes you a check. That's right, a check. Get your pre-qualification now if you have 10 employees or more. Call 800-535-ERTC. Take advantage of this tax credit while funds remain available. Call Benchmark Human Capital today at 800-535-ERTC and claim what is rightfully yours. That's 800-535-ERTC, 800-535-ERTC.
News Talk 710 KNUS.
Listen live on Odyssey.
Tuesday evening, mostly cloudy, 74 degrees, going down to a low of 50. 710 5-day forecast coming up. Top story, we are getting results from the mini-state primaries going on today. NBC reports Republican Senator Rand Paul is the projected winner in the Kentucky primary. He will face Charles Booker. Democratic former state Supreme Court Chief Justice Sherry Beasley is the projected winner in North Carolina's Senate primary tonight. President Biden vows to keep pushing Congress to pass new gun regulations. He spoke to reporters in Buffalo and said it's going to be very difficult, but he's not going to give up. Biden made the comments after delivering a speech following Saturday's deadly mass shooting in the Buffalo grocery store. He also said we should take on the haters.
The evil did come to Buffalo. It's come to all too many places. Manifesting gunmen who massacred innocent people in the name of hateful and perverse ideology, rooted in fear and racism.
This news update brought to you by News Nation. Watch Banfield weeknights at 8 Mountain on the fastest growing cable news network in America, News Nation. Go to newsnationnow.com/join us for your TV provider. Starting on June 17th, some people may be getting new area codes in Colorado, at least one new one. The Colorado Public Utilities Commission gave approval to the implementation of the new 983 area code to help with high demand for new numbers in the greater Denver area. Philip Lindsay has signed a one-year contract with the Indianapolis Colts. Dow finished up today 431 points. Wake up with George Brockler weekday mornings from 6 to 10, only on News Talk 710 KNUS, the official station of the 2022 Western Conservative Summit. I'm Roger Crittlebaugh.
Steffan. Now, back to Steffan Tubbs, News Talk 710 KNUS.
I'm surprised that I even remembered that. Yeah, I got an email last night. Hi, you haven't paid your fee for the meal yet. So come August, 35 years since I graduated. Wow. And I know many of you, hey, you think that's bad? It's right, your 50th. It's coming. Hopefully, God willing, I'll be around for it. You got to hear this. Seriously. We all knew the farewell, the sad farewell. Do we have that still, Matthew? Yeah. Do we have the Jen Psaki compilation? Let's go to this page here, and maybe we don't. Maybe we nuked it. Oh, here. No, that's her goodbye. Anyway, we'll find that. But in the meantime, Fox News reporter, White House correspondent Peter Doocy. Welcoming in the new woman of color. Make sure that you know she's a woman of color because they made a huge deal out of it. And she is not only a woman of color. Good God, she is not straight. But when you make Peppermint Patty look good, I think you got a problem. You be the judge.
Corinne, congratulations. It's nice to see you up there.
Thank you.
The president's Twitter account posted the other day, you want to bring down inflation, let's make sure the wealthiest corporations pay their fair share.
Mm-hmm.
How does raising taxes on corporations reduce inflation?
So are you talking about a specific tweet?
He tweeted, you want to bring down inflation, let's make sure the wealthiest corporations pay their fair share.
Look, we have talked about
this is a beauty, as
we have talked about
Trump
this
would say
last year about making sure that the wealthiest among us are paying their fair share. And that is important to do. And that is something that, the president has been, working on every day when we talk about inflation and lowering costs. And so it's very important that, as we're seeing costs rise, as we're talking about how to, build a America that's safe, that's equal for everyone and doesn't leave everyone behind. That is an important part of that as well.
But how does raising taxes on corporations lower the cost of gas, the cost of a used car, the cost of food for everyday Americans?
So look, I think we encourage those who have done very well.
Here she goes to the 3-ring binder. Literally, she is reading. She's reading.
That doesn't charge manufacturers, workers, cops, builders a higher percentage of their earnings, that the most fortunate people in our nation, and not let that stand in the way of reducing energy costs and fighting this existential problem, if you think about that as an example, and to support basic collective bargaining rights as well, right? That's also important. But look, it is, without having a fair tax code, which is what I'm talking about, then
what?
Like manufacturing workers, cops, it's not.
This
fair
is
for them
authoritative,
to have
isn't
to
it?
pay higher taxes than the folks who are not paying taxes at all,
Well,
or
what does that
barely
have to do with
higher.
inflation? The president said, you want to bring down inflation, let's make sure the wealthiest corporations pay their fair share. Jeff Bezos came out and tweeted about that. He said the newly created disinformation board should review this tweet. Would you be okay with that?
Look, it's not a huge mystery why one of the wealthiest individuals on Earth, right, opposes an economic
three-ring
agenda,
binder.
That is for the middle class, that cuts some of the biggest costs families face, fights inflation for the long haul, right? And that's what we're talking about. That's why we're talking about lowering inflation here, and adds to the historic deficit reduction the president is achieving by asking the richest taxpayers and corporations to pay their fair share. That is what we're talking about.
Okay, and then just one on the trip tomorrow. How come the president is visiting Buffalo after a senseless tragedy there, but he couldn't visit Waukesha after 6 were killed and 61 injured in an attack on a Christmas parade there?
I mean, he's visited many communities.
Here we
Buffalo,
go.
He's able to go tomorrow to Buffalo before the trip. That is something that was important for him to do. But he has visited many other communities.
Not Boulder, Colorado for a King Super shooting.
Community, sadly, that he has to go up to because of a violent attack. So, that's not the first one. So he's been to many others.
Ladies and gentlemen. She sucks. Big time. How many times have I said, by the way, to our friends on the left especially, if I were the White House press secretary, you're damn right I would have a 3-ring binder. Except for one little maybe difference. Well, I'm not a person of color. I'm certainly not a member of the LGBTQIA ! Plus. But I would at least act like I wasn't reading. She literally, some of you may have seen this on YouTube, she literally goes to the 3-ring binder. Doesn't even try to make eye contact with the press corps in front of her. Literally reading. She went to the tab, Buffalo, taxes. Oh, jeez. Wow. And trust me, when I say that she makes Peppermint Patty look good, Peppermint Patty still looks, she's very bad.
And President Biden
Jen? Stephen Tubes over here. KNUS. Jen? Matt, somebody's about to send a text right now. We get it. I understand it. And whatever. Well, Matt, that was freaking awesome.
Spotify.
Oh my gosh. We wrap up the program straight ahead. A reminder of the film coming up. Watch it with us this week in honor of the late actor Fred Ward, who passed away. We got word on Friday, but he passed away about a week or 8 days ago. If you've been dreaming of travel, but the lockdowns, well, you haven't. Well, you know what? You don't have to wear a mask on a flight. At least right now, may it remain that way. For more than 15 years, I've traveled around the world and done stuff for work. I've also been able to travel domestically and internationally, save for the pandemic years, of course. And I get sound like Saki. Oh my. Yeah. Anyway, my friends at Highlands Ranch Travel, they've got me from here to there, and they're just awesome. I am old school in the way, I guess, of I like to talk with people that have been there, get their recommendations, see pictures more than just on the internet. I like to see travel brochures, read about all the things that are just awesome about some destination that I have never been to. Trust the pros at Highlands Ranch Travel. It is time for you to get on the road. And seriously, whether it's just the vacation of your life, you're going to go with the family or whatever, to do an African safari. By the way, they specialize in trips to Southern Africa to do that. It's amazing. I wish I could do it. So many shots, though, Matthew. So many shots. It's worth it, though. Someday on my bucket list. Or maybe you're looking for a weekend and you want to just go, all out, and your weekend is in Phoenix. Highlands Ranch Travel can help you. Discuss your travel dreams and your dream vacation plans. You can count on 24-hour assistance while you're traveling. Yeah, of course, you can go to the internet in a matter of seconds. But there's just something about the personalized touch that Marcy and her team have done well, and they've done it right for well more than 2 decades, and they've been my go-to for more than 15 years. You can find out more online right now, hrtvl.com. That's hrtvl.com, or 303-791-2311, 791-2311. Book an appointment with the travel specialist. They'd love to meet you in person. Tell them Steffan sent you. It's hrtvl.com.
News Talk 710. Update.
Couple of problems in the drive. Traveling into downtown, there's a crash southbound I-25 right at Spear. A little crowded from I-70 and down to Spear. Past that wreck, some better speeds, and no trouble heading all the way down to the Tech Center. Westbound 6th Avenue running slow from I-25 out past Federal. There's a crash just past Federal on the right shoulder. That drive looks better once you get past that wreck. Now, 270 still a little crowded across Commerce City, and delays up north. The crash southbound I-25, it's approaching Erie. That is blocking the left lane. I'm Susan Phelan.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. Spring into spring hiring with Indeed. Their powerful hiring platform makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire candidates all in one place. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
For late afternoon and early evening, the Denver Metro will continue to see a few hit-and-miss showers and storms, otherwise partly cloudy into the overnight. Lows tonight will be low 50s. Lower 80s Wednesday with general sunshine, a stray storm in the afternoon. Upper 80s Thursday with increasing winds, showers, much colder, struggling to get out of the upper 40s Friday. Weather brought to you by Colorado Flat Fee Realty. Pay less, keep more, ColoradoFlatFeeRealty.com. Meteorologist Don Watzel, 710 KNUS.
If you owe the IRS back taxes, then get ready to pay up. The IRS has giant private collection agencies actively tracking down folks who owe the IRS. So if you think dodging them was stressful in the past, it's going to get a whole lot tougher. Optima Tax Relief has this advice. Don't wait. Solve your tax problems now before it's too late. Optima Tax Relief works to stop the demand letters, stop the aggressive collection actions, and stop the IRS collectors from targeting you. Ask Optima about the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands, and nobody knows this program better than they do. Optima is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, and they get results, having resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Get a fresh start. Call today for your free consultation.
Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-690-4040. That's 1-800-690-4040. Or go to SelectQuote.com. 1-800-690-4040. That's 1-800-690-4040.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercials.
Perfect air with a personal touch. Only Pastor Camp Heating and AC Inc. can give you authentic Lennox quality and service. They're the people you know and trust right here in our community. And for a limited time, they're offering up to $1,000 in rebates or make no payments for 6 months when you finance a new Lennox system for as little as $132 a month. To get quality Lennox equipment with trusted service provided by Pastor Camp Heating and AC Inc., call 303-777-1234 today or visit them online at pastorcamp.com. Conditions apply. See dealer for details.
News Talk 710, KNUS.
Listen live on Odyssey.
Now, back to Steffan Tubbs. News Talk 710, KNUS.
I understand a lot of other people graduated in 1987 from high school. I am a proud graduate of San Diego High School right in downtown. I was the token white guy bussed in to an inner city high school. This is where I guess with the asterisk, some of my best friends were Mexican and black and all of that. No, they were. And when I played on the baseball team, people of all colors and certainly shapes and sizes and definitely varying skills of baseball. Hell, I made it. Actually, I was a really good player. But I rode too much pine, at least in my opinion, because, the seniors. I was a junior when I got a lot of playing time, but not as much as I wanted. And my baseball coach, never forget him, Tom Lopez. He had a voice like this.
Which is better than like this.
But anyway, Matt, what's in the water? Is this more than water? No, it's just because I'm loving life. Running out of time, so I'll keep it quick. He used to scream at me all the time, Steffan! That's all he called me. He thought my name was Steffan. I spent collectively hundreds of hours with this man. It didn't matter. Steffan, throw some strikes. Throw strikes. You're throwing like shit. Yeah. You never wanted that. Coming up, wrapping up the program, a reminder of our film this week, as well as a shout out to the first MTC. Had a chance to speak at their lunch today. It was great. Simple storage, clean quality construction. You want a mini home upgrade that won't break the bank, but one that you will love? Then get with our friends at Roll 'em Out Shelves. You can streamline your space. No more awkward bending and twisting. You'll love our friends of the program, Joyce and Brent Tolliver. You'll love working with them. Owned and operated by Joyce and Brent, this Colorado small business has been almost now 2 decades in business. And they installed their rollout shelves in my kitchen earlier this year, and I absolutely love them. Whether it's your kitchen or bath, pantry, laundry room, basement, any room you have cabinet space, they can help you. Trust me, nothing feels better, right, than decluttering and getting more organized. Get on their schedule for a free in-home estimate. No high pressure, but you're going to love it. I certainly think that you're going to go with them. And if you don't, you don't. Maximize your space. Don't wait. Call them today for your free estimate, 303-475-9601, or online anytime, rollemoutshelves.com. The Friday Homestretch film assignment of the week, just in case you need a reminder.
This valley is just one long smorgasbord. We can make it!
That's how they get you.
That is from 1990 and Tremors as our tribute, just a little nod to one of my favorite actors. That's not the huge name, the face. It's one of those faces you recognize, but maybe a lot of people don't know his name. Fred Ward, who was also a United States Air Force veteran. He passed away. So Tremors, watch out for the desert. This is going to be fun. Sponsored by Danny Cash, Danny Cash Hot Sauce, DannyCash.com. They bring us our film this week. Visit them in the River Point Shopping Center, by the way. Of course, that is near Santa Fe and Hamden. All kinds of hot sauce and barbecue sauce, unique gift items. You're going to love meeting Danny. He's so awesome and was a guest. In fact, it was 1 week ago today that he was here in studio with us. As we wrap up, thanks to Ralph Spencer and the very kind men and women who were in attendance today for the first MTC lunch. And I was the guest speaker and greatly appreciated their offer. It was at the Raccoon Creek Golf Club. And this is for you artillery people. I can't play the whole thing, but just a little bit.
They cried out unto the Lord, saying, Lord, save us, for we are afraid. And the Lord God placed some of the infantry on beasts of burden, and these he called cavalry. And the cavalry became armor. And in time the infantry and armor called out unto the Lord, saying, Lord, Lord, for they were so afraid. And the Lord God heard their cries and decided to end their weeping. And the Lord God said unto the infantry and the armor, Behold, I send unto you a race of men, noble in mind and spirit. And the Lord created the field artillery. Hey.
There we go. A little bit from Ralph Spencer. I asked, can you hear me? You folks in artillery, whoo doggies. That's some loud stuff. And thank you, our veterans, and thank you to those that I met today. We'll have a little bit more on the American Veterans Show coming up this Sunday at noon. Tomorrow we talk no more concealed carry. There's just been a lot of stuff to talk about, but no more concealed carry in Denver because that makes sense. For Matt and Roger, Steffan Tubbs saying good night and remember our troops. Talk to you tomorrow.
The Western Conservative Summit is one of the largest annual gatherings